Hey, all you cool cats and gamers! Welcome to Victory Lap, the GDQ hotfix show that highlights recent world record and PB runs, and the runners who made it happen. I'm your host, Nuclear Reaction, and tonight I have with me Joey Baby 69 showing off his recent PB of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Before we get started, though, I do have some announcements. Games Done Quick will be at PAX East 2022, April 21st to April 24th. If you're interested in submitting a run, use command PAX in Twitch chat and fill out the form. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, your subs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits help support weekly hotfix content. Please consider supporting our daily content if you enjoy these hotfix shows. Now, Joey, this game has recently been popping off.
Yeah, I think 2022 is like the biggest I've seen Sonic 2 get in terms of speedrunning. So over the course of like literally at the beginning of 2022, so for the past like 3 months or so, this game has gotten like copious amount of tricks where at one point we thought we can get around a 1333x time. Like that was like the time to get in the speedrun if you're playing optimally. And now all of a sudden we can realistically say without anyone looking at you weirdly, you could probably get a 12-minute time, which is insane.
That's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So this PB we're gonna watch now. I'm gonna do some discussion later. So there is. I got this a week ago, and then 2 hours and not 2 hours. 2 days later, Romic, aka Yandis, beat this time by a couple seconds, just because there's so much extra time saved now. So now all of a sudden, you know, like the doors are wide open. Pandora's box has bursted open. You can like there's so much time saves at your disposal now you can take advantage of. But yeah, this game has gotten so much new stuff, and now it's like. It's crazy. Like I didn't think it would ever get this far. We thought 13 mid was like the peak, but now we're seeing like I would say like a Sonic 2 renaissance, if you will.
Yeah, I mean that's you have to think too. This game is like 30 years old at this point, and to all of a sudden here in 2022, this is just breaking open is incredible to see. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear, watch this run with you and kind of discuss where things can be improved and what has developed recently for this run.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna get this started. But of course, this is definitely gonna be an overall, the PB showcase. But I also want to like give some spiels on how much this game has evolved and what's going on. So yeah, so Emerald Hill Act 1, nothing has really changed for the past like multiple years. The game, the same story applies here. The ultimate time you want is at 19. Sometimes 20 is not a bad time to get. 20 is not bad. I tend to reset for 20, but 19 is like the time to get you want. Emerald Hill, there's only so much you can do. You can technically, I guess I can bring this up. The task has a lot of stuff that we took. I'll discuss more of the tasks later because there's a lot of stuff that I would say that was task only, but now we decided to, maybe we could do this in RTA, and that's where a lot of the big time saves came from.
Ooh, yeah.
But in terms of time saves, Emerald Hill is the same.
Character creation and trying different.
It's always so cool when you see stuff that's Taz and you think it's only going to be Taz only, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, wait, we can do this in runs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Emerald Hill 2, there's like a big jump you can do at the very start. We call it monkey jump, where you jump on a really mini slope on the ground, and it gives you enough height where you can bounce off a monkey in the tree, and you can jump over a ledge where you normally have to take a yellow spring to get up, and it saves like 2 seconds, which is nice. But it's a tough trick, but yeah, Emerald Hill is essentially the same. But like I said with task strats, so this is the beginning of when things start to change a lot. If you ever seen Sonic 2 speedruns, maybe like a year or two ago, this is going to be really different. So normally in Chemical Plant 1, you can get a 20-second time if you're really optimal. You're going to see a little bit of different movement here after I do a lot of pausing here. and I'm kind of like panicking because I'm trying to remember a frame. So that's a level wrap you can do. Let me back up a little bit just so I can kind of show what that was. So at the very start here, there is very precise pixel positioning and speed you need to initiate a level wrap. So what a level wrap is you you underflow your X coordinates. So if you go really fast to the left boundary, you actually get your X to a really high positive number, and that the game translates to like the far right of the map. Is really precise. Is I would deem it like the second hardest trick in the run, and it's like like on the third split of the run.
Wow.
It saves like 5 seconds. It's really difficult, but
would you say that's a big run resetter there then?
Yeah, it's. I did some runs today, and I think I got out of Chemical 1 like 6 times, and I was alive for like 2 hours, by the way. So it's a high run killer. It's difficult. Also, here's another brand new trick I'd say to the run of this year. Let me back up a little bit. Let me discuss a little bit of history of Chemical 2. This is a pretty interesting one. So like for the past like decade or two, there's been a surefire method of beating the stage. So before Tails, we have Tails to manipulate a door here. I'm gonna try to pause at the right moment. I did not pause at all. Let me back up a little bit. I want to get a pause at a certain position here. I didn't get it. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. But there's a door on the left side where you want to go get Sonic to the left. And if we position Tails in a certain way, okay, so there's a door in the bottom left there. What we would do is manipulate Tails to open the door for us by making him in a different position. And that would skip a pass swap, so you essentially skip 20 seconds in the level, and you just go on your merry way. But instead of doing that, we do a new strat instead. We go around and we position ourselves on the far right pixel of this staircase. So the staircase is rising up, and so we dubbed this Cubby L Pro. I'll discuss why it's called that in a minute. So you would have Sonic position on the platform as it rises up. So when you have it rise all the way up, you can zip through it, and you just zip through like half of the stage. So the discovery isn't from any high like top runner, anyone who's been like in the community for years. This trick was found by someone named Cubby Cat, and he is just I would say he's a regular in my chat and a regular in other Sonic streamer chats. But it was a guy who was playing on Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass version of Sonic 2 and just tried it. So someone who just like was just messing with the game for a couple minutes just found a big strat for the community, and it saved 6 seconds. Like it was the most like what the hell moment I've ever experienced.
That's so incredible when people just pick up a game casually and they're like just find a big strat like that. That happens all the time in speedruns.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah. when someone will tell you something isn't like, sometimes it will be intimidating, like, man, this game's 30 years old. Surely everything's been discovered by now. This is a good example of that's not the case.
Yes.
Someone who doesn't even like run Sonic 2 like that or at all in any capacity can find a 6-second strat that no one ever considered, and it's crazy. Also, Aquatic Ruin 1 happened. Aquatic Ruin 1 is a relatively simple stage. Just don't go to the water and keep your momentum as a simple stage. But Aquatic 2, this is a somewhat new method to do this start. There used to be a trick you do in this level. I'll try to pause here. So at the very far right of this level, you're going to see Sonic approaching this little, I don't know what we call this little spring thing where he jumps up in the air. Normally, there wasn't really a consistent strat to get the full bounce up there. Sometimes when you hit the spring, the little like flipper in the bottom, it gives you little to no height. And if you don't get up there, you lose 6 seconds. And it was deemed to be essentially random or just highly sub-pixel dependent. It seemed really difficult to achieve. But the beginning method of playing that way every time always gives you that exact height. And you get up there really fast. Yeah, the springboard, there we go. Guys, I see a couple folks in the chat. Supersonic, March, 3 Go, Sound Defense was good, guys. A good Sonic fellas in the chat. Love you guys.
and then
so
dying in like 2 turns later.
by the boss fight
Or
here,
whatever.
we do a set of pauses here. It's gonna look weird, but the reason for this is that for some reason, when you do a set amount of pauses here, it actually loads the fight up faster. So the pillars rise up much quicker. And we also do a set of pauses before we initiate our first hit in the fight. Because there's a weird quirk where if you kill Robotnik frame perfect as soon as he switches animation, you actually skip his exploding animation. It's hard to tell, but normally he's supposed to explode and then he flies to the right. But if you kill him at the right time, he just flies away. And it creates a weird side effect where all the animals turn to explosions, which is really weird. But it saves like 4 seconds, which is really nice.
I can do combos. I can do all that stuff. It's more like
So now we're going to the next super run killer. So normally the method of beating the stage is just pretty much glitchless. Just get through the stage as quick as possible, and you get like a 47. But now there's a new method where we have Sonic stand on the block. So it might have been not obvious, which is not. We do a subpixel manipulation because this level wrap is very subpixel dependent. And if I haven't mentioned already, subpixels are like fractions of individual pixels. So you can move Sonic barely, and it doesn't look like Sonic is changing his position visually, but he's actually is moving slightly. So it's a very precise position Sonic needs to be in. So his X and Y subpixels have to be in a very certain way. So the way we play out the beginning of the stage is to manipulate that, and that causes the level wrap to function. Because you can do the exact same inputs. You can get the level wrap, do the jumps, and do everything correctly, but the level wrap will still not trigger because of subpixels, which is really bad. But if you can do them, then it's not too bad. And Chemical Plant 2, Casino Night 2, I would say it has the hardest level wrap in the game. So hard that I didn't do it in this run. And as far as I know, no one has ever done it in a PB run yet. Because the level wrap is approximately 6 frame perfects in a row. If you mess up any of the late ones, then the run is just kaput. It's over. But at least the initial level is cool. So when you get to this midsection here, there's a bumper. There's like a green bumper thing that you just kind of clip through. Or I'm sorry, the flipper right here. So I'm going to try to pause here quickly. You're going to see Sonic just phase right through this flipper here. He just phases right through. So we have like specific movements we want to do there to manipulate Sonic's position to just phase him right in through the flipper. Because essentially like he's going so fast that his sprite never overlaps with the flipper. So he just goes right through it. And it saves like 4 seconds, 3 to 4 comparing like compared to doing the normal method, which is break open the colored flipper thing, the colored little whatever. I don't know what they're called. I have no idea. But it's a cool strat when you pull it down. Yeah, but Casino Night 2 is definitely the hardest trick in the game if you want to go for the wrap. It's not too bad if you don't even opt for it, but if you want to apply every strat in the game, this is easily the hardest strat in the whole run.
And y'all can't see the splits, but Joey has that one named "Run Dies Here," so
yeah,
really to emphasize that.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal one. So Hilltop 1, unfortunate showcase here. It's actually one of the more like I want to say the most inconsistent levels in the run. There's so much micro slope. There's so much sub-pixel shenanigans that can happen. So what I was trying to do there, there's a zip you can do where you can just pretty much zip all the way to the end of the stage.
Damn it.
But the first frame perfect has to be precise and followed by another set of pauses after that. So all this I'm playing right now, this can be skipped, but the jump is really hard to do. But you do end up around this area once you finish. So not the cleanest level, but like it shows that if this can be a 1335, then this can be a much lower time. But Hilltop 1 is a really difficult level to do. So Hilltop 2, there's a lot to talk about Hilltop 2. So there's 2 major things discovered with this level as of recently. So I'm doing a couple of pauses. If you know about Solidity, you know this might not be able to happen. Like you see Sonic just kind of just spin dash. Well, first of all, Sonic just goes right through the loop from below and just spin dashes right through the floor, or the wall rather. The set of pausing is to manipulate my subpixels to get a clip up to the loop. And while doing that, you skip a crucial pass swap that normally makes the wall solid. So by doing that, you have Sonic out of the loop in the wrong pass swap, and that leads that wall to be not solid. And the main reason for that is you can skip a cycle here you can get a faster cycle here. So right here in the middle of this big open area, that platform there that I land right here, that is pretty much was never done in runs. You always get the cycle after that, but with that discovery, you can do it. So right here, there's a flipper clip, a monitor clip. If you do a 2-tap spin dash towards it and then zip off of it and at a precise way, you can skip like the later half of the lava section and just end up at the end. There's also sometime like just after that was found, Zaxxon found a level wrap for this stage. So this level wrap more or less saves the same time, but could be technically faster. But the level wrap is pretty difficult. But it's cool that it gives like an extra option to go for if you don't want to go for the normal level. So there's 2 ways to kind of get more or less the same time. But it's another thing that was found really recently. So props to Zaxxon for finding that one out. So Mystic Cave 1, a relatively lax level. There's 2 main sections of this level that's difficult. So right here, there's a big jump you want to make here. If you do a precise quick spin dash and jump on the frame before you fall off the floor you're in, you can barely reach this floor up here. And then you can skip having to climb up to get on top of that. And right there, if you do a precise jump after hitting this red spring here, you can just clip or go right under the first block and just squeeze through all the blocks without having to kind of go around it. You kind of just go straight through it.
Pixels are fine.
And it saves like 1 second. But overall, the time you want is like it's sub 30. You can get a 29 in the stage, but
I can't.
has those spots specifically that can make the level a little difficult. But if all works out, you can get like a 30 or 29, which is more or less what you want to run. The Mystic Cave 2, nothing major to discuss other than 1 jump that's difficult to do. You want to just make sure you don't fall to the bottom path. Top path is easily the optimal route to go through the stage. So this jump right here, so that jump, if I did it perfectly, I would land exactly where I am. It requires a 4-tap spin dash and a precise jump on the very beginning of that slope that I was trying to jump off of. But it's a pretty precise jump.
Oh my god, the Mystic Cave curse.
I didn't get in that run there, but it does save a second or 2 if you get it right.
Okay,
and after that, we'll get to the boss.
Let me know now.
So the boss has
Like
these
40,
spikes that come from the ground.
My
You can
God.
tell what the cycles will be just based on what are the first few spikes coming from the floor falls, because they're all on a set pattern. So as long as you know like the patterns and you see the first 2 that drops, you know where the rest will drop. So as long as you know that, the boss is pretty simple. So in Oil Ocean 2, I say this is pretty much one of the few levels that if you're running the game for the first time, this is the level that you have a lot of grievance over, mainly because of the main strat to get through the level the quickest. So most of the level is done by just spin dashing through the oil. And if you go way too low into the oil, you just die. So this section right here, this section right there, is really easy for new runners. And even like runners have been running for years to get through that part without dying. You need to do a high enough spin dash and jump at precise points where you're still high enough in the, not reaching the death plane to not die, but also maintain your momentum so you don't bonk any walls. But once you go through that, you just have to just maintain your movement and get up to the top platform, and you can get a 31 optimally. It's probably one of the harder stages to learn when you're first getting started with this game. But when it works out, it looks really clean.
I'll say that's a real cool strat.
It's a tough one too, but yeah, it's really nice when it works. So Oil Ocean 2, there's 2 ways you can do this level. This level has a level wrap on it of its own, but it's one of the very few times where the level wrap is actually slower than doing it this way. So you're gonna see Sonic go into this little chute here, the little cannon here, but he releases off the cannon in a weird state. So he gets like the movement of the cannon, like out of the cannon. So I'm in a really fast running state, and you'll see Sonic moving much faster than normal. So when you're moving with the state, you actually run much faster than normal running speed, which becomes much faster than the level wrap. So normally you're not supposed to be down here. So the level is actually above where I'm standing at. So from right here, you do a 3-tap spin dash, and you spin dash to the right, and you actually transport to the top of the level. So you just get warped upwards. So there's a set of inputs you do off screen to make sure you don't die, because it's still really easy to die, because oil is still there and the death plane is still around on the tops of the stage. So you have to do some inputs to warp yourself from the bottom of the level to the top. And if you do it correctly, you just end up where the boss arena is. So you come to the boss like from below the oil, and it's much faster than playing through the level from above, which is really nice.
That's so cool.
It's a really hard trick, but it's probably like my favorite level when it works. It's such a good level when it works.
That was so cool to watch. That's a real good one.
All right, so Metropolis 1. This is the one I'm excited about the most. So this is the, like, a week and a half ago new trick in the run that I'm gonna stroke myself for a minute that I found here. I was in a voice call with Zaxxon on Discord, and we were just like talking about, I don't know, what would be great if something was found in this level, and I was just like messing with it for like an hour or two, and like I found this. So the normal method of doing this level, nothing really heavily glitched, but you would skip, you'll easily run past the first piston I stop at, and you play through the level and you get like a 40 IGT optimally. So this piston here, so let me explain something. So in Metropolis 1, in Metropolis in general, this is the only zone in the entire game where there's a weird quirk where if you lower the screen and jump, it vertically wraps the screen one time. So it's one of the few zones, and the only zone in Sonic 2, where it infinitely wraps itself when you're going, like if you're falling down in a fall chute, you actually go from the bottom of the screen back to the top. So it kind of infinitely scrolls itself. So there's a weird quirk in that where if you pan the screen down and jump, it kind of confuses the screen and it wraps around once. So that piston, I intentionally wait on that piston to stand on top of it when it rises up. So the piston rises me to the top of the screen, so it vertically wraps the screen. And for the entirety of the Sonic trilogy, when objects are off screen, they get deloaded. So that very piston I stood on gets deloaded while I'm standing on it. So the game doesn't even know what I'm standing on. So it puts me in a weird property we dub slope glitch. So what slope glitch does is you essentially get this weird property where you can just phase through slopes, which we dub slope glitch. When you're running on a surface of the slope, you keep that surface you're running towards, and you can use that to clip through the floor. And by that, you can clip into the floor to get a zip, and use that zip to get enough speed for a level wrap, and you get to the end of the stage. And it saves like 13 seconds optimally, which is a crazy find. Like usually 1 second time saves in this game are like celebrated. And then here we are with a 13-second time save, like brand new, like a whole new level wrap in a stage we thought wasn't even possible with the level wrap.
Fine, have it your way. I don't
So
care.
Metropolis 2 and 3 has level wraps for like years. So this is a relatively simple one. You intentionally take damage and you hit the lava, and then you use that damage boost to make yourself fall on the platform. But since you have iframes, once the platform is descending, the lava doesn't hit you because you have iframes. And there's some strange collision on the bottom of the lava where you can use to get yourself in a position to stand where it's zippable. And you can use that zip speed to get a level wrap and just end the stage in optimally 12 to 13 seconds. But 15, 16 is not too bad too. So as you can see, Metropolis has a weird trend of just being a busted stage. So you can see another level wrap here. Let me go back here. So this is one of the few times where Tails is heavily useful, and pretty much the only reason Tails is in this run. If Tails wasn't required for this trick, we wouldn't have Tails, because Tails would be such a pain in the ass for like everything else. But so what we do here is we have Tails. So you see this platform here. So the way this platform's coded is when a character walks off of it, the platform is supposed to fall. So what we want is Sonic to be standing on the far left pixel of the platform while Tails walks off of it. So what would that allow is have the platform fall while Sonic is clipping into the wall because he's still standing on it, just on the far left pixel. So what that would cause Sonic to do is he can use the floor he's clipping through to get zip speed, to zip fast enough to the left to just get the level wrap. That's a pretty old strat. It's been done for a long time. It's probably like the biggest strat found like back then, and it's still a major strat now because nothing has relatively changed other than the setup. This is a relatively, I wouldn't say new, but I'd say is a like kind of a 2020-ish strat here. So what a lot of people do in this boss fight, so the current way we do now is we have a Tails manipulation where we have us, Sonic and Tails hit Robotnik in really precise points. So what that will allow is having Robotnik to never fly up. So normally when you hit Robotnik, that makes him fly back up. And when you hit him, he pops a bubble, like a little like bubble of himself. When you pop that bubble, he comes right back down, and then you repeat the cycle. So what you're trying to do here is as soon as you you give Robotnik damage, you pop the bubble on the same time you hit him. So you see how there's no bubbles popping because I'm actually strategically positioning myself to hit him where the bubble spawns. So that as soon as he gets hit, the bubble just already disappears. So he never feels inclined to fly up in the air. So you can just get all the hits while he never rises up. And it's a pretty hard strat to do. It's one of the pretty tricky things to do in the run, but when it works out, it's such a big time save. If you don't ever plan to do that strat, you probably get a 45 at best. But optimally, you get a 35, 36, 37. Those are like the times you want. So yeah, Metropolis is just an entirely level wrapped zone at this point. I couldn't say that same thing 2 weeks ago, but with the Metro 1 level wrap, the whole level is just level wrapped entirely. Despite all the new stuff found in this game, Sky Chase is the same as it is. There's not much you can do about it. It's 2 minutes and 6 seconds of nothing. Technically could be 205 if you do a precise spin dash at the end and just barely save a frame to get a 205. I hate how it's barely possible to get a 205, but at least it kind of makes Sky Chase have some sort of strat. But this is just a level that you just wait. There's not much you can do about it. This is the...
Do you go for that spin strat then, or...?
I try for it, yeah. There's no risk involved. If you don't try for it, it's a 206. If you try for it and fail, it's still a 206. So there's no harm in trying, but if you can get a cheeky 1 second time save, then you can go for it. There's no overall risk involved. So I always give it a shot, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work. So yeah, this is like the calm before the storm kind of thing. So yeah, this is like the, oh God, please don't mess this up. I just have 2 stages to go, right? So...
when the pressure really starts hitting on the PB pace.
Right, yeah. I've seen it way too often where I've seen runners that play the next stage, Wing Fortress, relatively simply. Like they do it in practice, and like this is like their best level in their practice sessions. Like they do it well, and then once they get to this spot, it's like they forgot to play the game. No offense, but like I'm like that too. Like Wing Fortress becomes like such a hard stage when you know, like, this can be the run that you wanted, like, when it matters the most. Because it's such a scary level to do. Because Wing Fortress has a lot going for it. There's a lot to talk about for Wing Fortress. So, it's one of the very few levels in this game where there is RAM memory manipulation being done. So, this is another level that we get slope glitch at. This is for much later, so... the relative movement here is based on cycles. So the platforms are moving global cycles. So once the level starts, they're on a set timer. So I want to get there as soon as possible. So right here, so I want to make mention of this. So I'm running on a specific version of Sonic 2. This is the Sonic Classics compilation cartridge for Sega Genesis. So this is not the original Sonic 2 cartridge because this actually has a small change compared to the original. So they added a change to Sky Chase Zone where if you spin dash in Sky Chase, normally you fall off the plane and die. But this version you can't because the game intentionally keeps you grounded in the plane and it doesn't make you fall off the plane. So it makes it easier to not die. But for some reason, that same change applies to this stage. For some reason, that little change they made in Sky Chase caused these Wing Fortress platforms to behave differently. So when they get deloaded, Sonic can still stand on it. So now I have slope glitch, so I can just run through that first platform section without having to do platforming on the platforms. So you also get slope glitch in this zipper here. So when you spin dash off the zipper and you spin dash again off screen, the zipper deloads and you can use that to clip into the slope right here. So with the RAM manipulation here, you want to move Sonic to the boss in a very specific way. So this spin dash, normally when you're in slope glitch state, you're not even allowed to spin dash because when Sonic is in slope glitch state, he's always in a teetering animation. So as you can see how he's kind of tipping over with that tipping over animation. When he's in that animation, you can't spin dash. So the set movement you do here actually manipulates the RAM to give him the ability to spin dash in this point. Because if you're not able to spin dash, you can't hit him because if Sonic stands in that spot, he just gets hit by the boss fight. And from there, you have to fight the boss normally, which is much slower than spin dashing on the ceiling. And once you defeat the boss, you can just zip off of bounds and just jump where the end of the level is. And with doing that, it causes a weird little graphical glitch called looked up. So it's pretty cool. So Sonic's supposed to just stand there, but the game doesn't know what to do, I guess. So it's just jumbled garbage. 140. Relatively decent stage. But yeah, I've seen runners struggle with this level a couple times because the memory manipulation can just kill off a run entirely if it's not done correctly. But yeah, it's the kind of stage that can go wrong, especially when it's after all the metros and you're on to the final stage. So Wing Fortress is a really tough level, especially in nerves. And we're on to Death Egg. So Death Egg is a very infamous stage, even casually, because this is the only stage in the game that has no rings. But that's not even the problem with it. So there's two things. So this is a double boss fight. So you have Silver Sonic here. So Silver Sonic isn't too bad, but there's one thing about Silver Sonic that really sucks. If you kill him on a precise frame, you can actually soft lock the game. If you kill him when he switches one animation to the other, like frame perfectly, you can actually just completely hard lock the game and your run's over. It's really unfortunate, but it's not too hard to do. But if you delay your hits, you can avoid it easily. So that's what I do now. I kind of have a strat where I don't jump on his head. I just kind of sit by next to him and just deal the hits that way. So I make sure I hit him slow enough. So it avoids the hard lock. So we have Death Egg Robot. Here's the final boss. So normally you're able to... the strat that most people will go for is play it safe. I'm going to back up a little bit. You play it safe, get some hits, and he will jump up in the air. He'll come back down. You finish your hits. So 12-0, what you have to do is do precise jumps where you sandwich in between his fire hitbox and his leg hitbox, like his thighs, I guess, if you will. So you can hit his backside, switch to his back area, and a hit to his back and forth, back and forth. But it's a really tough strat to do. Not only because the hitboxes are not as forgiving, but you have no ring. So if you take a death, you lose 30 seconds. Yes. But when you pull it all off, it all works out. So let's fucking go. 12-0 saves approximately 7-8 seconds. I can't think right now. 8 seconds or so. Yeah, the rump. Yeah, there we go.
I was really fucking nervous.
So that is... I can't count the amount of times in my head that I lost a run to Death Egg.
Once I got Metro
I did some runs prior to Victory Lap. I was like 2 seconds ahead, and I died on Death Egg. So it's it's an unfortunate level to die on, but it happens with a strat like that. But yeah,
I just want to ask real quick. I know you mentioned on silver that you can hard lock the game there. Is that consistent where you can avoid that, or is that still a risky thing? Have you hard locked the game during runs?
There's a setup where you can avoid it all the time. The one thing that makes it hard is that if you jump towards him, like there's different ways you can attack Silver Sonic at the end there. What I do is I watch Silver Sonic stand still entirely before I start attacking him again. So it always makes sure that I kill him after he switches his animation, because you don't want to kill him on the frame his animation switches. So when you bounce on him, as soon as you do that first hit on the bounce, the rate of fire on your next hits are going to be determined. So if you jumped on if your first jump was too fast, you can intentionally risk that hard lock. But yeah, you can essentially avoid it for the most part.
That's good to know. Yeah, we still have death.
So yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's great how far this run is. So this is my current PB, but like I said before, the current world record is 13:27 by Yandis/Romic. And I don't think this speedrun is done anytime soon. I've seen Yandis have a 13:1x pace at one point, really far in. I had my own 13:1x's pace far in, and they unfortunately took a death in or somewhere around Metropolis. But yeah, big shout outs to the classic Sonic community. You know, I've had my own fun discovering some new stuff, but it wouldn't have been done with the likes of like, you know, March, Shore, Yandis, Zaxxon, all the folks, you know who you guys are, to make it the run that it is now. You know, I remember when Sega Junkies, Mike 89's 1458 was like the run to get in Sonic 2 back in 2017, I believe. And then when Boomfan got the first 13, we thought, okay, yeah, 13 is it. You know, if you can get a cheeky 13-3X, and that'd be it. But now we can confidently say you can get a 12 if you want to pull up all the time. Pull up all the strats that are currently done, that is possible, that are well known. You can drop this to a low 13, so the sky's the limit, other than, you know, getting lower than a 12. But it's crazy that it's gotten this far, and it's cool how much like stuff that can be found through like 30 years later. It's awesome seeing all this stuff coming to light.
Yeah, I'm excited to see now that all these strats and everything have been found. And again, this game is popping off right now. If you're not checking out the Sonic 2 speedrun scene right now, it is really, really hopping. I've posted Joey's Twitch link a few times in chat. Just want to urge everyone to please go give him a follow. I'm assuming, Joey, that you're still doing runs of this to try to knock down your time on stream, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was on this grind like hours before this little event here. But yeah, if you're interested in watching that grind, you can follow me at twitch.tv/JoeyBaby69. I've been on the grind for a good while now. As soon as I saw these new strats coming to light, that's when I sat down and started doing some more Sonic 2. I do some Twitter stuff too. I make some updates whenever I'm live, whatever. It's at baby69joey if anyone's interested. But yeah, I'm also now alone in that. You know, all the runners I mentioned before, you know, there's a good amount of runners that have been playing Sonic 2 the past few days and weeks. But yeah, I think Sonic 2 is the best it's ever been right now. There's so much stuff that has been found. There's so much life to this speedrun now. It's really cool to see. But yeah, and we also have a classic Sonic Discord. Pretty much on any Sonic SRC page you can find the Discord link to it. There's a lot of folks, a lot of cool folks that would be willing to help, you know, Sonic 2, of course, but, you know, we also got Sonic 1, Sonic 3, Sonic Mania, Sonic CD, and some good stuff. A lot of good folks like Zaxxon here, Super Sonic, a lot of good folks that are willing to help out, you know, a lot of great folks. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. It's a good game, good time to watch some Sonic 2. especially with the movie tomorrow,
Yes.
or at least in the USA.
Perfect timing. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm all ready to go. I bought a little vest, and I bought a little pin.
Yes.
Oh, this is the wrong pin. Bought a little pin for the event. I don't know if you can see that. A little too bright.
So Emerald
There you go. You can see it a little bit.
Lost 2 seconds.
I'm gonna have it on my suitor right here.
Chem 1. That's so based.
All right, chat. Again, make sure to go check out Joey Baby 69. Check out his runs here, and just I am excited to see where this goes, and excited to see you get knock down your PB time even more. Chat, we are going to take a quick little break here.
That's not good.
We'll be back shortly, though, with Spike Vegeta's recent PB of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Make sure to stick around. Hey, all you cool cats and gamers! Welcome back to Victory Lap, the GDQ hotfix show that highlights recent PBs and the runners that made it happen. I'm your host, Nuclear Reaction, and tonight we've got with us Spike Vegeta to showcase his recent PB of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze original mode. Any %, right? Is that?
Yeah, you actually nailed it. You even got like the full like because it's originally in Japan. It's just Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. There's no country involved in there. But they brought it over here. They were like, oh, we got to put the DKC thing on it so people will buy the game. And then no one bought it anyways because it was on the Wii U. But anyways, hi.
Hey. Hello. Let me get in a few announcements there, Spike, before we... I know you have a lot to say. Let me get in a few announcements here before I hand it off to you. Chat, hello. If you're watching on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/GameSoundQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. Also, your subs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits help support weekly hotfix content. Please consider supporting our daily content if you enjoy these hotfix shows. Also, if you have an idea of your own show or one-off event, feel free to go to GameSoundQuick.com/hotfix to submit your ideas. All right, Spike, I'm going to hand the mic to you. We've also got with us tonight, Not So Newbie, to go over some commentary. I'm really excited to hear you talk about this PB of yours.
Yeah, again, like you said, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Again, this is my most recent PB here in 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 8 seconds. And both myself and Not So Newbie, we were in the call before this, reminiscing of 8 years of running this game back when we were doing it through like Skype groups and stuff. How you doing, Newbie?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great, bud. I heard you're playing some Kirby lately. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
Great speed game.
Yeah, more and more people should check that out. It looks like a super cool speed run. Even if you're not super into Kirby games, it looks super cool. But anyways, yeah, so we're here talking about Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Just go over the category real quick. It is on the Switch version, the 2017 re-release of it, which comes with a lot of awesome benefits, including Funky Kong, which is there, but he will not be a part of this run because we are running the original mode. So it's basically the Wii U version where every Kong has 2 health. You start with just base Donkey Kong. Throughout the levels, I'm going to be trying to pick up Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong in different scenarios all over the different level situations as basically power-ups. So we'll go over what they're good for as we go through the run. But also, it's got like 9 minutes of faster loads, which when the run was like an hour and a half, that's a bonkers percentage of the run that was just watching loading screens. That's great. But anyways, I know we got a longer run compared to the last run we just had with Joey Baby. I got the 127.08. My PB is to get a 124.59 or below. You know how that goes. Sub 125. This run, pretty solid. It's got one big old blow up we can laugh at me about later on. But let's get the sucker started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you
Yeah,
grinding this out still, Spike? Is this...
I am, yeah. It's kind of my newest speedrun project. Going back to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I absolutely love this speedrun. It's just very satisfying how the movement all flows together and everything.
I was just getting rid of
Yeah, starting off here in 1-1 Mangrove Cove. Starting off as solo Donkey Kong. I'm going to start off rolling down this waterfall. We try to roll deep, as we say in the Donkey Kong Country speedrunning community, in order to cut out as much of that slow underwater swimming as we can. And from here, a lot of it is just having perfectly routed out how can we move from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen as quickly as possible. Utilizing that grasshopper back there to kind of boost our way back up. I know, that was the first oh no of the run right there. Is we're trying to like grab that plug, and then if you jump while you pull up plugs, they actually pull up a little sooner. But now we get Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong is actually, his main benefit is he is underwater. He's very good underwater because he has his jetpack. He can go super, super fast. So of course he's introduced in a level where we're underwater for about a quarter of a second. But he will have his time to shine later on, particularly in World 4. So, but yeah, other than that, not a ton, I would say, to break down here about 1-1. A couple of little specifics back there. But again, it's about getting from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen as quickly as we can, and just having your visual cues, which I'll try to point out with our fancy wancy, I don't know, one of the words, fancy pantsy, I think that's what they say. That's what the kids say these days. Technology here to kind of point out visual cues on the screen as we go through.
Yeah, it's worth noting for anyone that's played this game on the Switch, I guess, probably they played with Funky, and the original mode is notably much harder. So Spike's running pretty much the hardest any % category that we have available right now.
Yeah, what makes it harder is because when you play as Funky Kong, you actually get 5 health to work with, and he doesn't get other Kongs to power him up. He just is a fully powered machine. So if you take damage, it's not really a big deal. With the Kong family, so like Donkey's got Diddy right now, if I take 2 hits with Diddy, I lose him, I'm back down to solo Donkey Kong. So it's almost like in reality from a speedrun standpoint, you go from 5 health to like 2 health in a lot of situations.
Is that the reason that you felt like you wanted to run this category again? Because it's a lot more challenging?
Yeah, there's a little bit of the challenge involved, and also just like I like a lot of the Kong family strategies right here, having to like mix and match, having good movement throughout the levels so that we can swap between the different Kongs. I always like variety in my speedruns. Right here, we're getting to see Diddy get to showcase how good he is underwater. That jetpack making us just absolutely fly through the underwater section. And I'm going to have a specific lineup right here on this platform. I've got Dixie Kong right here. Kind of each of the levels in World 1 is introducing us to each of the Kongs, kind of within each level. 1, 2 is supposed to be Dixie. We're going to use her right at the end. So I get this question, I'm newbie, I'm sure you get this question a lot as well. How do you just like instantly make the barrels blow up? And I think Retro did an amazing job in this game of making it to where there's so many different ways to, without breaking stride, break open a Kong barrel to swap to a different Kong. So you see, I try to line up on the front part of this platform, roll, jump, and grab at the same time, chucking the Dixie barrel mid-air, which will actually kill the 3rd grasshopper and seamlessly swap me from Diddy Kong to Dixie Kong for this last strategy. So let's see if we can get it. Roll, jump, throw, bam, blow up both of them. Stop right here. Make sure I press A in the air. I just tap it so that it doesn't shoot me super high up into the air. It kind of deadens my height that I gain from this thing bouncing me up in the air because I'm doing Dixie's hover for just like a quarter of a second or for like a split second, like a frame. I don't know, however short a time I can hit that A button for, and then we can start moving. And this is also, we can start the water skipping, and after 9 of these, I can jump out of it, bounce off this hopper right here, and then make my way up to the barrel. It is worth noting that you actually can do that with Diddy, but it's much harder. It's so much harder, so.
Yeah, it's a really tight window to bounce on that bug. Also, I get a lot of questions of how do you water skip in this game?
Yes.
And I have to break it to them that you just keep rolling on the water.
You just keep rolling
it does
on
it
the
for
water.
you.
Just hold right, just keep pressing Y, baby.
Yeah.
That's all you get. It's not like DKC3 with Kitty where you had to like time
You time
your
each bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going
Pretty
to
good run
1-3.
so far. Look at that.
Yeah, pretty. I'm about to say 2 levels in, it's not looking awful. You know, I missed a plug, but that's okay. Gonna route in a damage boost right here to get past this section and then slam into the ground, picking up Cranky right there. Unfortunately, I was a little early right there, so I did not get priority on the fish, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a backup later in order to refill my health because we're gonna be routing in another damage boost in just a second to get through this section. So hopefully I don't, I almost never have to do this backup. Hey, that looked fine.
That was a great backup. That was
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so right here we've got, let me see if I actually do a little fancy wancy schmancy stuff right here. I am aiming for about this spot on the floor right here. I'm sure people can see that right there. Let me make a little bit bigger circle. If I pogo off there, that should set it up to where I'm gonna be able to land on the far left side of this upcoming newbie. Remind me, what is the name of this enemy?
I don't know.
Oh no, I thought we knew the names.
I don't know.
This fly enemy, I don't know.
It's called the I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
And that should set it up to where I have perfect spacing to weave through this next area, the hummus glue section, as we call it in the funky mode. But let's see if we're able to get it cut out of there right now. Let's see if we get it. Pogo right there. I was a little beyond it, but we still spaced it correctly. And that makes it to where I'm able to weave up and down through all those potential enemies and spikes and things that could have hit me right there. So I can take that intended damage boost and then just go through the rest of the level and not lose out on Cranky Kong. Because again, as you can see in that top left corner, he's only got 2 more health to work with. Getting a refill right there just because we're waiting on the vine anyways. Good.
It's called a monocle Monica.
That's what it was. I knew it was something with a monocle.
I
knew it was alliteration. Monocle Monica.
Oh.
I knew it was alliteration.
Fancier than I thought.
All the enemy names are amazing in this game.
DKC games have just like very, very creative, interesting names. A lot of Nintendo enemies in general, like very good.
Yeah, we'll put out some more good ones.
Yeah.
I'm
You're gonna have
interested
to.
in the lore.
I don't remember.
I'll point out some good ones. Got the wiki at my fingertips.
1-4 here, you get the first of the infamous minecart stages of the DKC series. And what I'm going to be trying to do is there is a barrel coming up that I am going to try to skip, saving like a quarter of a second or something. Because you got to go for all the time saves, right? So we first up right here. There is important to understand about Cranky is that you've got all sorts of different, you got a neutral bounce off of an enemy, you got a neutral bop where you don't press anything, you just kind of fall off of it. You've got a boosted bounce where you go a little higher. You've got Cranky's cane that could come out where you can do kind of a little micro pogo because he's basically Scrooge McDuck in this game. Or you've got a full pogo where you can like shoot way off into the distance. And right here I'm trying to go like a big pogo into a neutral bop into a big pogo into a big pogo. Where eventually what I'm trying to do, my visual cue is right here. This kind of this square, like this like nut right here at the end of the platform. If I pogo within that square, then I know I am good to skip this barrel platform, right? Or this barrel. So let's see if we get it. And yep, we had the good spacing. And now we go over the whole thing, cutting out the little blast air animation and everything. So that was good. I was happy with that. That was fine. You know what, newbie, you know what's been the best part of this run, going back and watching it so far, was that Cranky Kong backup. That was really good.
That was really good. That was smooth backup.
I was like, I've never done that before, and I was like, oh, just like I bounced up, I grabbed it, I chucked it.
It was good improv because some stuff in this game is hard improv because you're just going forward the whole time. So to force yourself to stop, figure out how to pick up the barrel fast and keep rolling, and then set up all the stuff after that is sometimes pretty challenging. So that was a great backup.
Now right here, you've got the minecart stages, which these are not, it's pretty easy to lose a couple seconds in these stages, actually. Now here's the thing. I don't know about you, newbie. I don't know how to optimally do these levels whatsoever. I play these games for the super fun platforming stages and everything. Learn how to level pathing through them very optimally.
Yeah.
From what I understand in this level, the more you jump, the better. Generally.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Generally, if you're going down slopes, you want to jump. If you're going up slopes, you want to jump. If you're vibing, you want to jump. Like, it's just, if you're jumping, you're probably saving frames all over the place. So you can see I'm kind of jumping a lot of times everywhere. It's not a big deal. But if you get into speedrunning it, definitely jump up and down those slopes. They feel good. so that we bring ourselves to the end of the first minecart stage, Trunk Twister, the first of 5 auto scrollers in the run.
Funny little thing coming up, because we're on the Switch version specifically. They did some changes to the game, a few, and one of them was changing the hitbox of some of the enemies. And it turns out this boss, his hitboxes are totally different from the Wii U. I think because of Funky, basically. So you're able to actually do some pretty wild stuff and hit him where you're not intending to hit him.
Yeah,
with Cranky specifically.
I'm not gonna draw on the screen. I'm just going to. 1 frame from now, for some reason, the cane that will be under Donkey's feet will pogo this thing. Oh, I screwed up that. You'll get it on the next one. That was awful. Why did I pause that moment in my life? Oh, no.
Yeah, there is a visual cue to pogo as well. He gets it, yeah. This should be
right
good.
here. This makes no sense, chat. They somehow messed up this hitbox, and it's glorious for speedrunning. Why does this deal damage to it? Bam! I don't know. His chin hit my head, and he took damage. It's great. Which, again, like Newbie said, that doesn't work on the Wii U version. Nice early bounces on those fish right there, because as soon as they're all gone, he'll get into place, and you can start hitting him. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, I saw a little bit of this run beforehand. I think this Pompey fight, it hits some of those hits, but not all of those hits. So you saw, missed out on one right there. See if we get the backup.
Back up here?
Not even the backup. All right, so Pompey. Lots of room for improvement. That's okay. We're going to the halftime show. He's got 9 hits total. All the bosses in this game have 9 health. And what I try to do is I take damage on, I guess I didn't count. You damage boost through, hit Pompey there for the 5th hit. And then, sadly, there's some sadness right here. Look at this heart up here. Unfortunately, only 1 heart can be spawned on screen at a time, and that's in an unreachable location for me because I hit him ineffectively in out-of-bounds state. So I can't take damage the rest of this run. Spoilers, I don't, because if I lose Cranky here, if I take another hit, this run would have died. So, spoilers, you know, it's great. Because, yeah, he's not going to give you another one at that point. Nice, good visual cue right there. A lot of there, I'm looking at kind of a part of the wall, that little slope that I bounce off of. I'm kind of looking at like 3 visual cues at once, where Donkey Kong is, where the slope is, and where Pompey is. So I'm using a lot of peripheral vision to screw up the strats like I'm showcasing right there. So definitely a good, like, probably 5 seconds that I could save on each of those 3 hits that I messed up. So, yeah, a pretty improvable Pompey, but hey, you know what? We got out of World 1, it's fine. The run starts picking up a lot here with World 2.
Yeah, things get a little more exciting now. There's pits in the game now. Lots of stuff that makes
Was there a pit in World 1? There's like a pit.
I guess so, but
yeah, it's fine.
These pits are ones you can actually fall in. So.
Yeah, it is. Right off the bat, they introduced pits right here, and yeah, you're going to be doing, which unironically, obviously pits are scary in any 2D platform. You're like, okay, instant death, yada, yada, yada. But also, we're going to be playing through most of the game as Cranky Kong, because Cranky is the go fast Kong in most situations, and he doesn't have a way to like hover or anything. He just has this cane, which again has a lot of creative ways, like you'll see in this level and a couple of other levels, to conserve your momentum all over the place. Right here, when we go through this windmill section, I want to try to ride on the windmills that are pushing me to the right, because they're pushing me to the right. That's good. So it kind of almost puts more speed on top of what I'm already doing.
A lot of little tiny time saves with Cranky. Every pogo, you don't lose any speed from just continuously pogoing. And he also gives you the max height that Dixie would normally give you. So in a lot of areas, he's strictly better than Dixie because he just does it faster, which is nice.
It's probably one of the few instances where Dixie would actually save time here because she can just roll off this cart instantly. Cranky needs a little bit of distance. And what I'm looking for here is this bushel of bananas. Basically, once that passes over my head, I know I can do a quick roll jump, a snap jump, and I will maintain all of the momentum that this cart is giving me. I don't know why this cart that moves at 1 mile per hour gives us so much speed, but it's going to make for a very, very sexy strat coming up right here. Let's see if we can hit it. I hope we do. I don't know. Yeah, and now I'm going to try to chain these together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 off those right into the platform. Aim for the top of this tuck, the top of that windmill, off of the rat, off of the penguin. Roll off that because once again, it's moving us to the right. And then almost die again. That's right. Left and there to keep it interesting. There's a little strat you can do there where you can roll directly into that barrel as the floor falls out, but it's a little precise on the timing. Slash right fuck. Don't worry about it.
Hey, you're good. You're good.
Well,
That's why you're grinding out runs. Get better.
That's why we're grinding them out. We're showing them right now. We're showing you the process, Chad. That's the great thing about this show. Is that we're showing you all the process. We're not just showing you the finished product. Sometimes there's a version 0.5 of things. And that's what this run is. It's 0.5, maybe 0.4. A long way to go.
So overall, Dixie is faster in 2-1, but we don't have any other access to Cranky, and Cranky's much faster in this level for a lot of momentum conservation, mostly because of the swinging platforms.
Yeah, you've also got the fact that Ramby, as you can see, man, I don't know what's in that cane, but man, Cranky got lucky with that one. It is so powerful. It's lifting a rhinoceros, and I'm sure Donkey's packing as well. Like there's a lot of weight going down on that cane every single time. You see a cool little bit of a Yoshi strat right there.
I was say you just Yoshi'd him.
To like yeet us up on top of that platform, but it's okay. We're picking them back up. Ramby the Rhombus is back in action. Now we can start running across these gaps just like SMB1 style. How can he make that gap? I don't know. But now we're going to try to conserve all the momentum off of this for the 1, 2, 3. God, that was close. That made me clench up. But that's
that was really close. Yeah.
Now, spoilers. I butcher this.
Oh no, this is the cool thing.
This is the cool thing. There's a lot of other cool things in the run. I know, it's awful. So what I'm trying to go off visual cues here is I'm trying to look at these dandelions. There's more dandelions across the gap. You have to have visual cues for every single one of your cane bounces where you're aiming each of them to eventually get the result you want. Unfortunately, chat, this is the result we get. One and boom, boom, boom.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna make that.
Ramby gets shot. I gotta keep going. I gotta go without my man. We can pick up another one. I don't know how we teleport over here. I don't know if they're different or not. So I try some sort of a backup strat right here.
What is going on?
I have to Yoshi him to yeet myself up on top. This is horrible. This is Nukes. Why did you have me on? This is terrible.
This is great. What are you talking about? This is so good.
The process.
I really do, though. That's what I love about the show is that, you know, it doesn't have to be a perfect. It doesn't have to be world record. And even then, there's improvements to make. So this is right now your personal best, but we're seeing there's lots of things you can improve on, and you can watch back and be like, all right, I hecked up this. I got to practice this. Like, I think it's so important with improving your runs to, you know, do that sometimes.
It actually is for me, genuinely, like looking at it and just getting to see, like, okay, these are the spots that, because everything happens so fast. You're like, oh, that run's dead. On to the next one.
Right. That always happens. Yeah. And you know, you're able to analyze it, right? And know exactly what you need to do.
So now I need to aim all of these cane bounces very specifically because there is a leaf coming up that I don't want to land on and a leaf that I do want to land on. So this pogo's from here. I want to go off of, I want to do a medium pogo or even like a mini little baby pogo off of the second penguin that's about to pop up right here. Go for another like a medium-sized one. Get in front of this guy, and I want to land on the middle leaf because if I go to the top shelf and I roll forward, I'm gonna bonk into the wall, and everything is awful. Why is that, newbie?
This level is based on the music. So all the horns you see that are blowing the leaves and things like that, they're all tied with the music. So if you're there, that was good. If you're if you end up somewhere at the wrong time that you don't know, that you're not used to, the cycle, all of your positions are going to change, and your cane bounces are going to have to change, and you're probably going to take damage or fall. That was close. That was close.
Yeah, that was. Oh, there was so much scariness because when you get to hear the way this wind shoots you up in the air, if I'm slightly off in cycle, I ain't doing this cool like woo, fly through the air. I'm in a pit. So,
You're falling. Yeah,
it can be pretty scary.
Schnauzel.
Yeah, I think because I know I'm a little off right now, I make a slight adjustment here at the end.
Yeah,
so
those three enemies coming out of there are usually weird if you're not on cycle.
So I would normally do a neutral bop off of that poker that is there at the end into the barrel. Instead, I said, I'm just going to take a small, slight adjustment. I'm going to land on the ground. I'm going to roll through. So,
The poker.
the poker, dude. The poker face. Yep. You can't see it. And now for here, like we just go off of an audio cue in the music to know when to jump there to get max height. So you can grab that grass and you can break that barrel as quickly as possible. So overall, honestly, pretty solid 2-3.
Yeah, doing that level correctly is super fun as well.
Yes, I love
It's a fun level to
that
play.
level. And it's honestly, like, Newbie, you brought it up how it's a level that's built, it's the first of 3 levels in the run that's built off those global cycles, as opposed to local cycles where a lot of things don't start moving until you reach kind of roughly where they are in the stage. Because the global cycle's there, if I make a very, very small mistake, I have to be thinking all the way down the rest of that level, what's that gonna do? How's that gonna affect things? And how do I need to make adjustments to make sure I don't end up in a pit somewhere and my run dies?
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but whenever that happens to me, I don't know what the cycle's going to be. I was like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot
can't
of just
really
like, I know
foresight.
the problem areas, and I'm just kind of like, we're just gonna roll the die and just see what happens. So,
Yeah, you can also, if you're okay with it, you can just wait for the proper cycle to come back, which is usually not that long. It's about a couple seconds.
now we've
And
got
you get,
We got our next level right here, the second of our 5 auto scrollers. And this is always where I just like to point out, I don't know if people can like hear the audio or not. First of all, shouts to David Wise. The soundtrack of this game is one of the greatest of all time. Absolutely gorgeous. And second, look at how creative the level design is here. It's the same thing as we had with the last minecart stage, where if you're going up a slope, you want to jump up it. If you're going down a slope, you kind of want to jump up it. But yeah, other than that, this it auto scrolls. It scrolls in an auto fashion. So, Nukes, how you
this is
doing
like
with that?
a fun one. No, go ahead. Nothing to say about this one.
Machine.
Is there?
Machine.
I feel like there's ways. You said like jumping and stuff with these minecarts, though, speed it up some at least.
Yeah. Kind of just when you're going up and down slopes, you like to do that. And that's actually, I'm glad you asked that, because we're going to point out a fun little thing here called the Granny Hill. Right here, where this hill, so you would think based on that rule I just told you, Nukes, that I would jump up this thing. I'm not going to, because when we get to these 3 platforms, if I jumped up that, these are like close to frame perfect jumps to actually make these, because you're technically here a little sooner. And these are like,
they spawn later, and it's not meant for you to do that.
Yeah. So like those, even the way I did them right there, I've talked to multiple people in my chat. That's like a casual nightmare trying to jump on those things. Amount of coyote timing and stuff you got to do. But with that, we've gotten to do quite a bit of the run here now with Cranky Kong. So we're like, you know what? Let's go let him sit in the barrel for like a level and a half. Then we'll get him back. Let's give Dixie Kong a try. She's really good because she basically has a double jump in this game. A little bit of a hover that can kind of lift you back up in the air. So if there's ever a level where there's just a big gap you got to cover, Cranky Kong obviously isn't the best for that. So we're going to be going for our girl Dixie. So roll down, again, slam it into the ground and starting a roll that breaks open the barrel instantly, allowing us to seamlessly transition from Cranky Kong to Dixie Kong, hovering over that gap like I just said.
Yeah, you get to skip grabbing vines, which is always faster.
Go for a fun little bounce jump right here, chaining these together, barely making that platform and making our way up to this balloon. I've never known how how serious it was, but after the specific visual cue, I wait for about that banana right there on the far right side. That's when I know I can roll up. If you ever want to speedrun 2D platforms, chat, this is good for like all speed games, but I find 2D platforms in general, get yourself some visual cues. Make it an easier process. It was actually with Donkey Kong Country Returns as a speedrunner, I really started adopting visual cues, and man, it helps. So.
Yeah, I used to do most of my runs off feel, as I would call it. Yeah, I feel like I jump here. It's fine. And my time notably improved when I started being told to use visual cues by some other community members.
Right. It just, you will get so much more consistent when it's just like, I am aiming for that flower on the ground, you know?
Right. And then all of a sudden, I do it every time.
That kind of makes me think of how people think, oh, if you play a game a lot, you can do a blindfolded run, but you could just feel it because you know the game. But in reality, in practice, that's not the way you're gonna want to go about that. It's not going to be consistent at all.
Dude, can we take a second while we're doing the opening of this? Because this is like half an auto scroll. Do you know, I want to have relatively clean movement here because we want to get the Cranky Kong cycle. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I just want to give a shout outs to Bubzia, who a lot of people know. He's been on one of Nukes' shows before here. Does a lot of games blindfolded. He's done SM64 blindfolded, Metroid Zero Mission. I'm an avid fan of Kingdom Hearts 2. That man has done Kingdom Hearts 2 blindfolded in 6.5 hours. I wouldn't ever want a blindfold on me for 6.5 hours, much less have to beat an RPG. That's incredibly impressive. I just wanted to shout that out. But anyways, Kong cycles. They're global.
Yeah, they're always global. Doesn't matter what level you're in, and it's 3 seconds per cycle. So they spin around. If you hit a barrel, that's you'll see it rotates between the Kongs, and yeah, it's global when you start the level. So Spike here would try to get here as fast as possible, and it would be on a Cranky cycle right away, and he missed it.
And we missed it, yeah. So if I have very clean movement throughout the level up to that point, I can barely jump and grab the Cranky barrel and transition into him and save myself about 3 seconds. I did not. So I was waiting, though. You can usually get a good feel for when you're fast enough in the level to grab it or not. But at the end of the day, you just kind of gotta go off of, all right, I've seen this much of the Cranky cycle. Super cool strat right here where we can conserve some momentum off that swinging vine. Do one quick roll and jump. The less time you are on the ground for the roll, the more speed you conserve. And then when you go for a cane bounce, because you're only touching the ground for like a frame, you don't depreciate any of that speed. So that's what's really powerful about Cranky Kong in this game. Even in comparison to Funky Kong, who's got a bunch of his own like super cool strats in funky mode runs of this game and everything, that he's gonna have to touch the ground for more than a few frames with the cane. So on his surfboard, he can't quite conserve the momentum in these same ways, but he's got his own magic. It's so cool. Funky Kong's so cool. I don't know what I'm talking about. He's not in this run. Whatever. Let's find an owl. Everyone says this owl reminds them of Sephiroth. I don't know if it's the owl himself, but it's music.
I think it's a combo.
It's a little bit of a combo. It's basically if Sephiroth was reborn as an owl. That's probably what he'd look like. Oh, nice. I actually got the strat right there. Yeah.
Hey, nice. I saw you practicing that too a while ago.
So Scowl is one of the hardest bosses in the run to do well because he'll give you 3 eggs and you have to execute on all 3 of those eggs every time. So you saw I neutral bopped off of the egg. As I'm going down, I pull out the cane, bounce into the ground and grab it, scooping him up at the same time. So then as I go up in the air, I can hit him again, grab the other one or don't because you're turning around, but that's okay. And then we hit him with the 3rd egg right there. This, I'm gonna let you know, this is another 2-2. This is not good, but that's okay.
This is gonna be great.
This is gonna be great. This is late night GDQ comedy hour coming your way.
This is what you get here.
This is a really cool strat though, where we bounce off of the egg. To note, if I cane bounce off of an egg, it obliterates them. They're gonna die. So we cannot do that. So you have to make sure that we actually basically tap A 3 times, where you jump, you pull out the cane. Because you release, it puts the cane away, and then you big boosted bounce off of another egg so you can get this next hit off. I want to make sure that I get all 3 eggs on screen at the same time. So 1, put the second one on layaway right there, throw that one, get screwed over by the turnaround, that's okay. Then pick up the third one, hit him in the face. And I'm probably crying on stream right now, but that's okay. Sounds like a 15-second time loss. But yeah, it's making sure that you get all 3 of his eggs on screen as opposed to just instantly throwing that first piece of damage at him. So now I gotta deal with a little bit of randomness. Thankfully, there's almost no randomness in this game because when they brought this to Switch, they fixed the RNG, so that's pretty cool.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
the bosses all used to have all sorts of random patterns, random phases. Like, you just have to basically wing it every time.
I can't believe he didn't grab. Now we go into the third and the final phase of Scowl. We're very, very high up in the air. I'd be very scared if I was up this high. But Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, they're taking it on. Cranky Kong's seen some stuff in his life. I'm sure he's like, yeah, it's whatever. We got
Sephiroth guy has nothing.
Sephiroth's got nothing on me. So we got 2 more eggs that will come down, but again, we have to do 3 damage. So they're thankfully he's going to give us an opening right here. So we're going to see once again what I was talking about. Where look at the cane as I jump up here. You're going to see the cane come out, go back in, and then I'm going to get a big boosted bounce off of this other egg, planting him in the ground. Whoop whoop whoop! Got a little sleight of hand right there from Cranky Kong. Never show you the whole hand. Hit him off screen. Now, there is a quick kill that I've been doing in my runs, and I've been screwing up, and I wanted to get out of World 2. But basically, you can line yourself up and do a double hit right there off a damage boost. Saves like 2 seconds. You just don't have to wait to hit him off screen like that. But it's very cool, and it's actually very consistent. I need to work on it. I'm not going to say I'm bad. I just need to work on it.
It's something you need actual practice. It is very cool, though. You get hit, and in getting hit, you drop the egg, and that hits Scowl on his first hit. Then you're out of iframes, and you bop him on the head at the same time. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's glorious that the game lets us do that, because you would think, like, oh, he takes a hit, and then he's got some iframes. Nah! They never thought you'd get 2 hits a frame apart.
Yeah, they never thought we'd be good enough, you know?
Yeah. And apparently I'm not good enough yet, but I'm getting it. We're going to get it.
It's just learning.
I just got to get it. So here we are going into World 3 of 6. This is the Lion King level, as everyone talks about. And just as Newbie talked about back with 2-3, this is on global cycles that go to the Lion King music.
Yeah, this one's a bit different in that we have a lot of leeway here.
Yes.
We get some grace period because we have to wait for a cycle anyway after this. So you can be a little bit sloppy here. And as you know, none of us have actually really learned the beginning of this level optimally because it never matters.
Yeah. As long as you catch this, you can see those giraffe puppets in the background. They're vibing back there. As long as we catch a certain cycle with the far blue one that goes back and forth, and that's on a 7-second window, as long as we catch that, we're not moving any faster through it. So here he is right there. Otherwise, we have to wait for him to go back and forth an extra time. So that's why you probably watch it. It didn't seem like I had super optimal movement. It's really just for consistency's sake in a lot of sections. And now we have another roughly 7-second cycle here where I'm just making sure I don't make any horrible mistakes so I can catch one of these bobbing up and down these kind of stone-based snakes right here, platforms as they're going.
Yeah, this one's a bit tighter. You have to actually be quick to make this one right here.
You gotta move.
You get it in the barrel here or what?
Do I? Let's find out. I have a visual cue that I go off of. You can see that kind of banner in the background, and then there's the snake I'm on. I always kind of went off of when the background here goes away. That's kind of my visual cue to hold up and right and jump into the barrel. Unfortunately, for whatever reason in the Switch version, this strat kind of got messed up. So nice. I jumped too late because if you jump into there at the first possible couple of frames, then you actually land on the left side of that grass and you can just roll straight through it. I had to kind of turn around and do it. So we're talking super minor stuff here, but you know, we want to save every frame
in
we
that
can.
level, there's not much else because it's on global cycles that you pretty easily catch.
3-2, Baobab Bonanza. We got some fun stuff coming up here with the flower strats.
I like this level too. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. This is one of those levels that you think it's not a big deal. And I definitely would put it on the easier side of the run overall, but I actually have a lot of fun practicing this level, especially this opening bit. So I'm going to try to roll through here. I need to make sure that I approach this flower I'm jumping on from the left side. If you try to go straight up, you'll just fall right through it. Whereas the game kind of gives you a little bit of a ledge grab to put you up on top of it. And then I can roll, do a big cane bounce off of that hoot. That's always such a fun little section to do. Flows pretty well. Now we got another fun section right here where perfectly, I swear, it's like Retro knows how to make 2D platformers. It looks like I'm going to a pit, but whoop, there's this swooper coming right in just so I can barely make it into this barrel. Let's go again. Oh no, another pit. Whoop, here comes another swooper ready to save the day. And now I'm going to try to chain a bunch of cranky bounces along the way to make my way over here. Jump off a bunch of baobabs. Do those taste good, chat? I've never had a baobab.
The
They look
fruit does.
spiky. Yeah, the fruit.
Yeah, those enemies are called swooper dupers. So
Yeah, that's what
call.
I'm about to say. That's like the only name I know of enemies.
Yeah.
It's like those and tucks and hot hoots. Hot hoots.
hot hoots. Can't forget the hot hoots.
All right. I got
Puzzle piece
one
jumps?
bounce.
Aw.
I got a bounce. That's pretty good for me, dude. Because you're waiting on the massive baobab right there to get to break that wall for you, you can just kind of mess around for a little bit. So that's why I kind of screw around there at the end. But, I mean, legend has it. People can jump over that puzzle piece like 7 times.
Me neither.
So this is the coolest strat, I think, in the entire run in original mode. This is Tornado-C-Do. So there are tornadoes that are all throughout this level that are meant to like be stage hazards that kind of like mess with your movement and everything. But we're going to try to use it to our advantage. I get a little bit of it here. It's pretty fun to watch where, as you can see, I always describe it as like the hip of the tornado right here. I'm going to try to jump up and through it at about this angle. And then once I know I'm about max distance to the left, if I time it right, I can snap back to the right and we can start flying through this level. Let's see if we're able to do it. Let's see if we can jump up through the hip and get her going. Boop. All right, now we got to start rolling. And then I have to perfectly chain together different visual cues of where I'm aiming each of these. So we got the hedgehog, we got the swooper coming up, we got the tuck right here. I try to land off the far left side of that leaf, so I go through the top portion of this, through the head portion of this tornado right here, so that right here, I don't get clipped by this platform, killing all of my speed, sending me back up through this tornado right here. Let's get rid of that, keep it moving. Now we're aiming for the edge of that platform, barely getting off it. Bam, 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 Bigelow. Unfortunately, this is the hardest cane bounce to place. I really wanted to land right about here, and I'm gonna land about here, and he's gonna be angry. So he's gonna stop all my momentum. Woo! And then unfortunately, we gotta keep it going because with that tornado right there I just passed, you need to barely swoop into it, not clip the platform that's right before it, so that it lifts you up and over this platform I'm going over right now to then go all the way through the rest of this section into the eventual barrel. So can we back up? Can we just like see that all and like, yeah, that's perfect. So just to show it all so y'all can see the speed and everything. This is an extremely fun, extremely difficult strat. And I'm glad I got at least a little bit of it to showcase because, yeah, you can really see we start schmoovin'.
You got a good percentage of this, I think. And your cane bounces are really good. The setups are nice.
Yeah. I went a little too far there.
Yeah. That tuck.
So ideally, you'd go smoothly even further.
Through this as well.
Oh, yeah.
All the way through this, too. Yeah.
We're still going.
Yeah.
You would still be going through this.
Even through this
going.
wind
that's-
section that pushes you.
Potentially a lot of time to shave off your PB then if you were to get that smoothly.
Yeah, I would guess that's still an additional 10 or so seconds that you could
that's
save.
about right. Yep.
Because that barrel that I just went into, that's where it would obviously depreciate all the speed. So that's what I'm trying to get up to. Instead, we got to do the more kind of normal way going through this. Get Rambi. Another thing to point out about Rambi the Rhombus right here is every time you have to start back up a run with him, you lose about 1/10 of a second. So whenever I can use a cane bounce, that's better because I don't have to start up the runs with him over and over again. You just switch to Dixie Kong right here just because it's like impossible to not get it. I need to work on what to do right there.
That scared me.
I know. I need to go watch an old run. I forget how you're supposed to end the level right there. Because ideally, you don't even get Rambi, that whole level. You get through that entire level without it. So I didn't know what to do. But we got it. That's fine.
That's fine. That was sweet. That was a good 3-3.
Yeah, that was still like getting up to that midpoint tornado. Where
That's the choke
arch
point,
is.
essentially. That's like the
that-
hardest part of the strat.
That's kind of the break even where I'm like, I'm happy with that right now. If I get the whole thing, I'm popping off. So we got another one of the, either Diddy or Dixie is actually optimal for this level. You just need someone that can cross a couple gaps. You need a couple of hovers in mind. That obviously Cranky can't get you.
That's the only reason we do it in this level. Cranky can't cross 2 gaps, this one being one of them.
Bam. Yeah, I need a little bit of a hover to make that. To know there is a redonkulous, and I did Donkey Kong Donkey Kongulous individual level strat. I don't know if you've seen it, newbie, where they store a bunch of momentum off one of the flippy platforms here.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with that stuff. It's very cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
God, it's cool. This is a really cool speedrun, chat. More people should pick it up. There's 6 of us. We'd happy to have a 7th.
Yeah, it's pretty new also, considering this game is not run very much by a lot of people right now, so pretty cool they found that. New stuff's being discovered a lot, so.
Yeah, I think you sent me a DM on Discord.
Every so
couple
often I'll
months
send
back.
you something really cool.
Yeah, there was like one in like
New that I've just
5-4
seen.
with Funky. We're just like, yep. People are just finding creative ways to conserve momentum off of the weirdest little objects in the game. Just like some little flippy platforms that you normally do to like drop down like a bonus level or something. We're gonna use it to go flying, and it's weird.
Yeah, it gives you some little tiny momentum forward, but for some reason you can carry that sometimes.
It's worth pointing out there, so this is our 3rd auto-scroller, and it's the first instance of the rocket barrel levels. The minecarts levels do have instances where you can save time. Like I said, you want to jump up slopes, you want to jump down slopes, yada, yada, yada. The rocket barrel levels, there is nothing. As long as you don't die, you can't gain or lose time. But there is one time save. I won't back up the video because I can describe it. You had that rotating Diddy Dixie Cranky barrel cycle at the beginning. You probably saw I wanted Cranky. There is like a couple frames. If your movement is perfect, your skipping of the opening cutscene is perfect, you can get the God Cranky, as we call it, but it's pretty scary because if you miss it, it rotates to Diddy Kong. And Diddy Kong is the only one that can't utilize this secret exit coming up because you need to have a double jump or something to get up there. So if you go for it and you miss it, I would
have
say
to
it's a
reset the
time
level.
loss.
Yeah.
You just the only way to fix it would be you'd have to. The fastest way would be
level, I
you'd
think.
have to take a death in the level. So you have to take 4 damage and then get the Cranky cycle. It'd be awful.
Oof.
Yeah, woof. Yeah, no
Yeah,
thank you.
although it's apparently consistent now to get it.
Oh, it is? Did they find a consistent way to
There's a
do
set,
it?
yeah, there's a good way to do it, yeah.
Yeah, generally, like, I'll point out with this next level, actually, instead of just when you start up a level, just mashing the cutscene skip, yada, yada, and then just kind of mashing roll, you gain control of the Kongs when you see these bananas that spin around. As soon as they cover the entire screen, that's when you can time your rolls. Bam, and you can have the optimal roll. So this is a very, very cool stage, Bramble Scramble right here. Yep, kind of named after the infamous DKC2 levels. where I'm first going to go off of this visual cue of the rock in the background. Off Dwayne Johnson back there, I know that is where I can start my jumping here for my series of cane bounces. Ooh, I messed up the first one. That's okay. So we'll try to back it up. I mean, probably, get a decent one where I want to land on this top shelf of the leaf right here and then roll off and bounce perfectly to where I can serve all the momentum off of this flower. Bang, bang, big pogo right here, big pogo into the first barrel. So we backed it up pretty well, I would say, in that first section. Going into the second section right now, I need to get, boy, we are flying right now. There's should not be standing right there. Jump, I want a neutral bop off of this big muncher right here so I can perfectly chain together that pogo into a tiny boost, into another couple of tiny pogos to get up to that vine. This is always a very fun level because the level effectively is invisible in a way, how it's kind of being created in front of you. So you gotta trust your own visual cues of what you can start doing. And then chaining all these together, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the barrel, damage boost through, wait a split second, then shoot so you don't lose Cranky Kong, and then end the level. Always a fun one.
I love that level too. It's really fun. Yeah, it's always the same. You're never guessing that level.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
So that's why, again, it goes back to those visual cues where, like, a jump I'm trying to make has... The relation was that rock that I showed you guys at the beginning of the level. That is what I was looking at, which theoretically has nothing to do with these platforms that are spawning in front of you. Half the show tonight is just me gushing over, man, the concept of visual cues are so cool.
This game is so well designed, the visual cues. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, visual cues help with spacing, right? Because you know how far you're going to go when you do a max pogo bounce, like distance-wise.
Exactly.
So the visual cue will tell you, okay, from here you're going to go exactly to there every time, right?
Here we got our World 3 boss, Triple Trouble. And so there's actually a lot of ways that you can lose time in this boss pretty subtly. So what I'm trying to do is there are these 3 different baboons. They each have 3 health. When I deplete one of them to 0, that will transition us into the next phase. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to position myself underneath basically the right side of this part of the platform above me so that only this guy will come down. I will pogo him, and then these 2 will be able to go on to phase 2. So there's a lot of actually pretty specific positioning you want in order to make this fight actually just move along a little faster. And sometimes, even though you're just trying to get one of them to 0 health, you hit the other one so that they get into position faster so you can keep moving on. It's like right here, you've got, I want to instantly cane bounce off this enemy. I want to wait until the other one drops down before I get rid of the left one here. Because if I did it instantly, they would give a different attack or they go on the poles and everything and be very, very slow. But because I waited for him to come down, now he's committed. So now I get rid of him, get him in position, go over, instantly cane bounce, taking care of him instantly, knocking out the second nerd, going on to phase 3.
The setups are all pretty good here. They've been worked out a lot.
Yeah. You know exactly your positioning needed. It's kind of one of those bosses. First couple times you'll do a run. Oh, Phil Mickelson. Oh, wait, no. Kobe. Kobe first.
Kobe first?
Shouts to Kobe. Oh. Knowing even in these instances, making sure I roll underneath them so that the bombs are out of the way. Because they'll follow wherever you are for when I go for that 8th hit right there. And now we got our final hit going for it. It's kind of similar to the 7th hit we just saw. I'll throw a spray pattern of these. Just stay safe and then eventually set up because I have not taken damage yet. I can take a damage boost to set myself up for a bounce, grab it out of midair. Phil Mickelson, throw it right into their face. Finish off World 3 of 6 right there.
Nice. Good pace. Nice, 16 seconds ahead.
Yeah, we're doing okay. This run is, it's fine. Again, I've seen the things I need to work on, but another thing that's good about this show that Nukes is running here, is that you also, I think, can appreciate the things that you do well. Because, like, so often in speedrunning, I think the mindset for a lot of us is what we did wrong. You always remember the 5 things that went super, super wrong, and not the other 36 levels in this run that were all, like, perfect or, like, very minimal time loss. It's all about the time loss.
Yes. Exactly.
See, that's the mindset.
Going into World 4, so now we've brought up the concept of the barrels, how they're always on global cycles. So every time I make a mistake in a level, that's going to mess with those. Underwater, they're actually 2 seconds apiece. So I know I don't need super clean movement to get to that Diddy barrel in time, because again, Diddy is the king underwater. That jetpack makes us go real fast underwater, saving a ton of time. But it is going to be crucial now that I move very, very fast through this section so I can catch the underwater Dixie cycle. Because as Newbie brought up earlier, the barrels are on 1-second cycles for each of the Kongs. They're actually 2 seconds apiece here. So I route in a damage boost right here. There's a 50-50 chance that I could get a heart out of this chest coming up. So I try to roll for it. I'm able to get it, so I'm able to route in a second damage boost as well.
Nice.
So I can get up here, spin through this guy, and then I am on cycle with Dixie. So I had about a half a second of leeway right there before it was going to transition over to Cranky, which...
Yeah, you can see the barrel spinning about to change, right? Yeah, you need Dixie for this and to get to the secret exit in here. Because the way the route works is we're going to be doing 2 levels instead of 3, basically. So it's faster.
Yes. Yeah, within Tropical Freeze, each of the worlds have a set of secret exits within the different levels that can send you completely different paths through the worlds. World 3, we saw it back there, going out of that one auto-scroller we needed Cranky for. And we're going to be utilizing secret exit paths in both Worlds 4 and 5 as well. And World 4, this is by far the most important one, because like Newbie said, we're going to do 2 levels instead of 3. And 2 of those, basically all 3 of the levels we skip are like pretty long. They're very cool levels, but it's better for the speedrun that we skip them. Plus the second half of that level's extremely long.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a way to do that with Diddy, but it's very difficult, or am I thinking of a different trick? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually, yeah, you perfectly called that out. You can do that with Diddy, and we'll actually see me utilize that later on in the run, that piece of tech. But yeah, it's definitely slower. So right here, again, as soon as those bananas cover the entire screen, I want to start doing my roll right there. Because if you're slow here with Dixie, you can see we go barely underneath Jaws right here. He would snip us and we'd fall down in the water and you'd lose an hour and a half. And I'm not in for doing that because this run is only an hour and a half. So instead, we barely do a micro hop right there, getting up on top, rolling through, bobbing and weaving through all these barrels to perfectly catch this Diddy cycle right here. So we can transition over to him because we got some water sections coming up. So if I can maybe just back up a little bit and just show that in stride right there. It's back to okay. Yeah, no, perfect. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, right as now I start rolling, go underneath the shark, whoop, just barely slip underneath them, go through the penguin, under the ball of doom, and then barely neutral bopping off of that hoot so I can catch that platform cycle, roll off of it, and so I can start Diddy jetpack boosting underwater. Because now I need to keep my movement up, because the coolest thing about this level is that we use Dixie, we use Diddy, and now we're going back to Cranky. The entire Kong family is getting in and helping us move through this level as quickly and as powerfully as possible.
Yeah, it's a really cool level. I like this a lot because you use all 3 Kongs, and they're all on cycles, so you have to catch the cycles to be optimal here.
Yeah, it's nice.
We need Cranky for the next secret exit to bring us to the next of 2 levels instead of 3. If you take the regular exit here, you're going all the way back to the regular route, and you have to do 3 levels regardless.
Yeah, this secret exit right here is actually, it cuts 2 entire levels out of the run. Like that's pretty powerful, man.
Yeah. And you're not even finishing this level, so it's faster than doing this entire level because you find the exit early.
There we are. Yeah, you can see it on that left side. Bang, bang, bang. 4-2, 4-3, 4-4. Or we'll just do 4B right here. That sounds more. That sounds better. It is. It's worth pointing out probably that while we're going into this level. So if y'all actually watched years ago for SGDQ, Newbie and I were part of a Tropical Freeze relay where we did three kind of Team America, Team Canada. We did 3v3. It was a lot of fun. One of the Team Canada members is from Minnesota. Don't worry about it. But it was actually really cool. You could actually clip out of bounds here. But that got patched out of the Switch version. Literally, that's the only downside to running the Switch version is we don't get to do the fun out of bounds here. But so I got some fun Diddy movement all over the place. So
yeah, this is arguably one of the hardest levels to optimize the movement, just because there's so many little things to take into consideration. Going through these like warps, the way you go through them, if you're spin attacking or just swimming through them, changes how you exit out of them each time. So it's pretty wild. There's a lot of ways to get through this level, and it's hard to do. Really precise stuff here.
Yeah, I've started to pick up on like some visual cues of where you want to go, because like Newbie said, if you, depending on, like sometimes you want to corkscrew spin into a transition, it's important whether you're at like the bottom, like right there. I was trying to corkscrew at the bottom there, which would have actually started me deeper into this room. So it's one of those levels that when you start off running, I would be like, don't worry about the finer details. Just get through the level. It's fine. Don't die or anything. It's actually one of the only levels in the game that doesn't have a checkpoint, because it's almost Metroidvania style, that you got to go all the way over here, get this to go unlock this chest, yada, yada, yada.
You should learn the route through this level before you learn the tricks, basically. The ways through, yeah.
Yeah, you can see right there, I was already like 3 Donkey Kong lengths into that room because of how I went into the screen transition the room before. So it's easily a room where you can feel, or a level where you can feel like, all right, that looked fine. And then you're like, why was I 9 seconds slower than the world record for it? There's a lot of subtle time loss you can have.
Right.
And now we come up on one of my favorite levels in the entire run. This is like top 2 or 3 for me.
I was about to say,
when you
rank
nail it,
this difficulty-wise.
yeah. When you nail it, it's really good. C stack attack. It's actually going to be pretty much all above water, actually completely above water. And we're going to actually be going Diddy, Cranky, Diddy throughout it. Diddy we have right here at the start. And the biggest thing I'm trying to get with Diddy right here is I want to pick up this bomb. It's a pretty difficult technique. Roll through the enemy and grab the bomb out of his hand at the same time, to where now I'm going to jump up, boost off that poker right there. And what I'm looking at is this visual cue in the background. As I am reaching that point, as the bomb's about to touch that, that is my visual cue to chuck this bomb. It will hopefully blow up on this penguin that is right in front of this wall, this barricade that's keeping me from moving forward, and I can keep moving on in stride. Let's see if we're able to hit it. I actually don't remember if we do or not. Hey,
Nice.
we did. All right, cool. Yes, that's the first big thing you need to hit here in C-Stack Attack. And if you keep it moving perfectly, we are just moving into the Cranky cycle to grab that sucker, pogo over, and mainly use Cranky throughout most of the rest of the level, utilizing his bounce to get over that top barricade, not have to stop right there. And then we got this sand wall, which you would think is just all kind of auto-scrolling, but there's actually a lot I'm doing to optimize it right here. By jumping up in the air, as soon as you grab the bomb, its fuse timer starts going down. So I want to catch it at the apex of my jump, then make my way over, throw it, set it down, slap on the ground so that the poker loses his poker right there. The poker loses the poker, and then I can roll jump, barely getting over this bomb, so that I can keep moving in stride into this barrel. This is a super scary spot right here because I want to try to aim my cane bounce for right at the edge of this platform. If I'm a little far left, I lose all momentum. If I'm a little far right, I hit the poker. We don't want to see either one of those.
This is the hardest bounce in the run. Nice.
Nice. And then right here, I tried to go for that. Let me actually, I won't point out the visual cue, but you can see I'm millimeters from bonking the ceiling right there. If I bonk, I'm going in this big old pit right here, and I'm losing Cranky, and I'm losing a ton of time. I'm able to place my cane bounce correctly, So instead, we pogo off, or we roll pogo off you, and then I do specifically a just roll jump right here, because this will set it up to where I can roll through this guy, land in the far right barrel here, and then I'm gonna mash out, buffering my blast out of the barrel to barely weave my way under that hot hoots, over the 4-banger right here, the 4 barrels right there, into the top barrel, and make my way towards the end of the level. Now we got the final, final section right here. We're dropping down, again, global barrel cycles. We're dropping down here, we need to get Diddy. It's about to transition to Cranky, but I'm also gonna do some camera manipulation right here. I'm going to turn my backside towards the right side of the camera, which loads a further object off screen while I'm waiting for it to move over to Diddy. Grab the Diddy barrel, pick it back up, roll, and then that thing has already moved because I loaded it off screen from dropping down and then turning my backside towards it, saving me just another 1/4 of a second on not having to take the damage boost. Now we can go through here, we weave our way, bouncing off of some enemies, make sure we don't get hit. For one final strat here in C-Stack Attack, we're going to, normally the game wants you to slap your way through all of these boxes. No, no, no. We're gonna save another 2 seconds, and we're gonna be scared to death in the process by dropping down, barely turning on the hover pack in time in order to hit the barrel and finish out the level. I'm gonna real quick give myself a little bit of a break on talking, and we're just gonna watch that in stride.
Yeah, that was great. That was really good. You also saved a ton of time, which is nice. Good
Yeah,
PB.
I must have died there in PB, so.
Yeah, it's really easy to mess up most of these jumps. So Spike does a great job with this.
Yeah, rolling through it, steal the bomb, throw it.
Hitting everything also keeps that cycle for the first Cranky cycle, and then going through the barrel shooting section and stuff. Make sure you get the Diddy on time too right after. So it's pretty good.
Utilizing the cane bounce right there. I told myself I was going to give my voice a break.
I love
this level. Truly is. There's a lot to unpack.
I like that you could break it down. It's really nice. Show's great for that.
Yeah, as soon as Nuke said she came up with the idea for this show, I was like, oh, we got to do this. This show
genius.
sounds great.
Yeah, this level is never, the Justice is never done on this level in marathons and stuff, because you can't actually talk about everything that's happening.
No.
It goes so quick.
Yeah, this is the world where we can talk about this stuff. We can.
No one ever talks about the loading the thing faster, the object, by turning around, because you don't have time in a run to talk about that.
No, it's gone in a 1/4 of a second. You're
It's
like,
gone,
oh, and then right.
And it just looks like you're jumping down and turning and grabbing the barrel or whatever. But there's a really specific reason to do it, which is so nice you're able to explore
Spike's
that.
doing a great job here too of pausing and really breaking it down for y'all to see what's going on. And that's something you can never get with a live speedrun up for obvious reasons, because you have to pause and point out everything and explain it in detail.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen.
I'm actually, so obviously I'm super passionate about commentary and speedrunning. As we move through some more Diddy swing right here, we want to be specific about our visual cues and everything. I actually think if you're going to commentate a speedrun at an event, don't try to do what I just did, because it doesn't work.
Usually not, right?
Usually I say, when you take a level, think of like the 1 or 2 super prominent things and just tell the audience, about that. So.
Right, you usually don't have time to go into any detail, right? So,
You just don't. So. But yeah, I'm trying to have good movement throughout this level, because once again, as you can see, I basically had to take a required damage boost back there. Otherwise, you waste a ton of time, probably 15 seconds to not taking the damage boost. So I'm going to very specifically super bounce off of one of those enemies, aiming for the poker up there, so that hopefully in stride, bam, I get there right as the Diddy cycle rotates over, and I get a refill on my health. Because it's good, if I have good movement through here, I take another damage, perfectly set up to grab that heart right there and take another damage, so I can keep Diddy, keep that jetpack alive, and move very quickly up to this next section of the level. That's always one of the most fun, just pure swimming sections of an any% run.
It really does test your swimming ability as well. Because you have to be very precise there.
Yeah, how like you reset up each of the angles of your jetpacks to go in the different directions you want to go. And then if you have good movement here, I bonked. But I think it's still,
You'll be okay, yeah.
Yeah, still able to grab the Diddy. Could have been there a little sooner. It's fine.
You can see
another damage boost, again, for refilling that health. You have to constantly do this stuff because you only have 1 health to give up before I would lose Diddy.
You can see Spike doing a lot of really sharp turns with Diddy. I think that's a testament to how good the swimming is in this game.
Yeah.
You have a lot of control over Diddy, which is so nice and refreshing in an underwater levels in a platformer, to be honest.
Yeah. So often people are like, oh, it's the underwater levels.
Right.
Oh, no. Like, I think even solo Donkey Kong, I think swimming's pretty good in this game.
Yeah, it is. I agree. You feel just like you have a lot of control over your movement underwater, which is great.
Going now into Fugu, another one of the hardest bosses to get right in the run. I don't get it right here, but that's fine. We have a super cool strat that's right at the start. I love this. So I'm actually going to grab the cranky barrel. I'm going to drop in the water while I still have Diddy as it's kind of turning me into Cranky. I'm going to get in one final jetpack boost and then switch over to Cranky, saving like some frames here and there. But I always love that truly getting everything you can out of each Kong. So
squeezing every drop of juice out of it.
Yeah. So Fugu, this probably goes terribly. I don't remember. So you are supposed to wait minutes in order to hit this thing. What I'm trying to do with Cranky's cane is you can barely reach it behind and just kind of smack him on the booty and start getting those hits in early. I think I screwed up here. Yeah, I don't quite get the correct angle, so I'm able to at least get the first 3 hits, and I can transition my way over. I actually like to hit him a little earlier, so he's tiny. I find it more consistent for me, even though it's a little slower. Now I'm going to try to go for another couple hits. You can see I'm still getting the hits, but it's being slow because he's having to move into position every time. Whereas if you do these super perfectly, he pretty much turns back around instantly. So instead, I'm doing the backup strat where you can see I can sort of get hit, have just enough time to hit him as he re-exposes his backside, and then just get out of there in time before Donkey Kong would take, what would be the killing blow for me. So it's not a very hard backup, and it's definitely, if you want to get into speedrunning this game, learning how to fight Fugu is probably the first thing you should do, because otherwise, if you fight him casually, that is a 2.5 minute long fight compared to even done poorly there, 45, 50 seconds for me. So
you can get it under a minute with those strats, which is really nice.
Going now into world 5 of 6, we got definitely the most creative world of the bunch. Newbie brought up squeezing every drop of juice we can out of all these strats. We're literally going to be doing that here. It's an entire world based around fruit smoothies. I don't know. I probably die here, don't I? I'm terrible at the donkey opening. I'm terrible.
Oof. It's tough, though. The spacing is weird. It always is.
It's bizarre.
I get it.
So now you're on the death cycle, which changes the spacing of these enemies a little bit. Thankfully, for the first death in the run, that was like a 10-second death. It was pretty whatever. I route in a damage boost right there because I want to specifically be Dixie Kong for this section. So if I don't take damage back there, I would have gotten there not in stride for Dixie. I would have had to stop and grab her. And I would have gotten Diddy instead. So now with having Dixie, I can do a little bounce, get in front of the nerd, because there is a gap coming up that I want to be able to barely hover over and transition back into Cranky.
So you mentioned that you're terrible at Donkey here. Does that spacing have to do with being Donkey versus Funky, or?
Yeah, with having the different Kongs, how you would. So if I still had Cranky Kong, if Cranky had not taken a death in the Fugu fight beforehand, I would have done a different series of bounces to chain across that first area. He wasn't there, and I couldn't think of exactly where I wanted to place Donkey Kong. I need to make that more consistent. Again, Chad, it all comes down to visual cues. And
you also have an infinite roll with a Kong partner, so you have a little bit more leeway as to where you want to jump. But with DK, you have to just roll jump. you kind of have to space it out on the fly, which is a lot harder usually.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not your typical setup.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. You never start like that. I mean, ideally.
Yeah.
In
Ideally,
reality,
this
we always
run-
start like that.
Now, if
There
you started
is-
running donkey only,
Yes.
No.
Dude, I'm telling you, newbie, that'd be a banger.
You're not telling me anything. You're not telling me.
Banger.
a
Banger.
free world record right there, chat. If you want to be on my show.
Chat, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Anybody in chat, you can have it. You can do it. Donkey
No, I'm removing it off
Kong
the
only.
leaderboard. Sorry, guys. Taking it off.
We're not gonna put it on the leaderboards.
I'm removing it now.
So you're going to make it a category extension, you're saying? I also
sure.
have a show for that.
Oh, there it is. If you actually want to be on GDQ Hotfix, there it is right there.
That's
We're
great.
in our 4th of our 5 auto scrollers right now. You get this like fun, dynamic, over the shoulder camera angle stuff that we got to see a couple of times throughout the game. They were like, oh my god, we're gonna put this all over the game, and it's in like 2 levels. But it's pretty pog. It's pretty cool.
It's in all the advertising. Yeah.
So chat, during this auto scroll, I have to ask, what is everybody? If you could have a smoothie in front of you right now, ideally you're drinking out of it, what's in it? What fruits are in it?
Spike, I wanted to take the time to ask you. I know you've done a lot of different Donkey Kong Country games.
Yes.
Which one has been your favorite to speedrun and why?
It's honestly okay, so here's the way I'll answer that question. The entire Donkey Kong Country series is extremely fun to learn how to run. I think they're actually relatively well balanced for if you were like, hey, I want to get into speedrunning. I think a lot of them have their own fun dynamics and everything. I think the modern games, DKC Returns and Tropical Freeze, both have incredible level design. Like, these games did not get enough love. The way Retro just placed out all the enemies and everything, how you interact with all the different objects in the level, just the platforms itself, so freaking good. I love it. I would put a tie between Tropical Freeze and Donkey Kong Country 2 for my favorite of the DKC series that I have learned. I think DKC 2 is just a super dynamic speedrun. There's really death-defying platforming you're doing all over the place, but also you have to be good at controlling the animal buddies, Rattly, Squitter, all of them. Diddy and Dixie control very differently, actually, how you would go at each of the levels. Each of the gimmick levels are super fun to learn how to do. There's all the crazy wrong warps and everything you gotta learn. From top to bottom, you never feel like, oh, okay, I go into the next level and I just do this. No, there's like a different chapter of class that you're looking up in order to get through this next level in a very quick manner. So I think DKC 2 in a 40, when you're starting off 45, 50, 55 minute package, I think that's pretty good. And with either DKC 2 or Tropical Freeze, or let's face it, the whole DKC series, you're listening to some good jams all throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of good jams, this is, I always say, one of the most underrated ones. 5-3. I love the music in this level. But we're going to try to move fast through it. First off, we got the conveyor belts right here. They're moving to the right. Some of them move to the right. When they're moving to the right, I'm going to roll on them. So we're just going to leave it there. I love that strat back there where I use the barrel to refill Cranky's health and to just take out that larger enemy in front of me. Cane bouncing off of that conveyor belt back there because it's moving to the left, so I don't want to touch that for very long. Now we're going to stop. We're going to set ourselves up. I'm going to put Donkey's backside right up against these blades so that I have enough spacing to do a full roll jump into a cane bounce as the door's coming open so I can get up to this top shelf instantly. Rolling down, barely getting in front of this tug, and rolling through him. Riding another platform to the right, go for a cane bounce into a boosted bounce, rolling deep as we do in the DKC community, to then chain together a couple of bounces, getting up to the top shelf, going down, riding on another one going to the right, riding on another one going to the right, and then pulling that plug, pulling it up, jumping up into the barrel. And then we get this cute little strat where we grab the Dixie barrel. For whatever reason, you can cane bounce off of the corner right here. That's cool, because we can skip out on the left side, go straight up, and then start slamming, going into the Dixie Kong transition. making our way under, going off of that piece of fruit right there, barely making that gap. And you can see why we go from Cranky Kong to Dixie Kong right there. Once again, we got a gap, we got to cover.
I just got too much on my plate, honestly, to pick it up.
So 5-3. This is another one of my favorite levels. I'm glad we nailed it. Again.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Good thing about this show, I'm getting to see the levels that I did well because I only remembered the stuff that I screwed up.
Yeah, I love the way this run.
127. We're going to show 127.
Whoa, nice gold, too. Rainbow split, baby.
Yo, the big rainbow. Let's go. That was basically a perfect 5-3. That was good.
It was, yeah. Even some strats I haven't seen there. Rolling under the fruit. What's that?
Yeah, I saw DKS, world record holder of this category, legendary speedrunner. I saw him do that, and I was like, that's cheeky. I got to do that. I like it.
It's very cool, yeah.
So we got here for this. So this stuff is always like kind of nerve-wracking to do in a run because we want the secret exit at the end of this level. I'm going to switch over to Diddy. There is not another Kong barrel. We're getting later in the game, so they're going to stop just giving you health all over the place. So transition over to Diddy right there, utilizing the barrel to also take out that larger enemy. And now I'm going to land right past this farting toucan right here, just enough so I can roll off of it and get water skips through this section. So I want to ideally basically never take damage this entire level. Otherwise, I get real scared because if I lose Diddy, I can't take the secret exit.
Yeah, it's been so long since I'd run original mode that I forgot how hard this level actually is.
Yeah.
Nice O grab.
Yeah, you got to grab the O because I'm a bad.
You're waiting anyway.
I grab the watermelon right there.
Right. With Funky, this level is super easy, but yeah, it's much harder when you have to not take any damage as Diddy.
Yeah, it's certainly much scarier at the very least. So
Right.
make sure you hold down and right. That is how you get them to do that motion. And this is the primary reason why we wanted to have Diddy there from the start of the level, is that time I waited for it to rotate over to him, we're making all that time back and much more in this section. We got the flipper section right here. I don't think I catch this early cycle. Your movement has to be pretty clean when you pop out of the water to get that. Kind of need a woohoo skip in a way. Jump up, make my way through. I probably, just take a damage boost right there. Ooh, I did not mean to stop rolling. And then,
That's scary.
so Nukes, you brought up earlier that, you can use Diddy for those sections. It's just harder / it was a little slower. You're normally not supposed to go through these sections where it's blowing you like away. You're supposed to have Dixie's magical hair. However, you can do what I'm doing where I do a jetpack into a breaststroke cancel that refreshes each of them to where I can gain just little bits of distance and eventually hit that secret exit point without Dixie Kong.
I can see how much slower that would be.
Yes.
Right.
If you
That section is a pretty short.
Yeah.
That's a pretty short little section to get through, so it's not too bad, which is nice.
Now we go
Kind
into
of a tight, it's kind of tight though to do that motion.
Yeah. I think ideally you get through there in only like 4 jetpacks. I probably took like 5 or 6 right there.
You count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Yeah, I got 4.
That nailed it. Yeah. Now we got our third and final global cycle where all of the platforms and everything are going to the music. So I make any mistakes, I'm going to pay dearly for it. Nice big boost off the farting toucan right there. And because I'm having to wait on the cranky cycle coming up, we can have a little bit of fun, slap these little enemies down. Switch over to cranky. Big boost off that guy. Ooh, and I shot early.
You're early.
I was early.
Yeah, he made the cycle a little bit too quick, actually.
Yeah, so with that, what's going to happen is I'm going to have to go for a backup strat right here. Blasting out earlier because I knew where that platform was going to be. Always know your backups, chat. I need to know more of them. No, that heart was right there. It actually kind of worked out to where that actually just delayed me enough to where I wasn't going to take damage in that falling shaft at the end.
Yeah, it was very funny how that worked out.
And now you can just walk through here. You can't really beat this cycle. In Funky mode with Funky Kong, there's actually some cool strats to where you would take a bunch of damage boosts to move through this section a little faster. But on original mode, you're not going to save any time doing it. You're probably just going to lose Cranky Kong.
I had to figure out a
Nice big boost off the hoot there at the end. And now we go into another one of my favorite levels. I think I saw this one before we went live tonight. I think this one didn't go like... It went okay. I think this one went okay. But I don't think Cranky makes it out alive. F's in chat.
This utilizes a lot of the way that the ice, for some reason, conserves momentum going forward. So you get pushed by a bunch of springs in this level, and for some reason, when you're rolling on the ice with that speed, it multiplies it on the ice. So we utilize that a lot here. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, messed up a little bit back there. Wasn't supposed to take damage. You can see, whoop, a lot of speed right there off that little roll jump. Actually utilizing all of that. Going underneath this guy, going in this little secret alcove, which I always thought was cute. That's actually the fastest way to go through that little section. Making our way over. Big bounce off you. I want to jump out of that thing slapping me so that I actually gain more momentum. Now, right here, I did... I'm not going to bother backing up. We're already late enough. By doing a little crouch, for whatever reason, that's going to extra multiply our speed to where then I can do a roll here, jump out of it. I'm going to crouch through the first section and then roll under the rest of the spikes. Ooh, and then start going really fast again. Turn to the left, keep that speed going, drop down. Now, I tried to play it safe here to keep Cranky, but I had so much momentum still built up. I shot all the way to Timbuktu, and Cranky's now staying there. So we're going to have to pick him up in the next level.
That was a lot of speed. That was good, though.
Yeah,
besides the very end, it was really solid, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those levels where, like, that's a split where the time loss wasn't really bad. You knew how powerful it could be. And it wasn't quite powerful enough. That's okay. Making our way over to the Coca-Cola Bear. 5 boss, Punch Bowl. The penultimate boss of the run. Where, as you can see, we're solo Donkey Kong. We got to re-pick up Cranky here. I don't know if he's just on cycle here. Nah, you got to wait a second.
Yeah. The arrow right in there.
I always love the arrow. Just go there. So I roll up first to bait out his hammer slamming down so I can get in that first hit as quickly as I can. This is a boss where he's optimally done, like 3 minutes long, and unoptimally done, don't do it. So don't mess up time. So you're going to see right here, I'm going to drop down. This third bomb right here, I need to slap it, break it. I'm going to take a little, he's going to kick me with his foot, causing me a little bit of damage. And then in those iframes, I will pick up the bomb and I will throw it at him. And if you're lucky, he'll drop health and you'll be lapper to refill. I won't pause anymore because this boss needs to be off screen as quickly as we can. Bait out another hammer, getting slammed down, get in the third hit.
Yeah.
Yo, Lapras, thank you for the 15 months. Appreciate you, gamer. Hope you're doing well.
Because, yeah, this is always the boss where you're hoping, like, it's not a terribly, terribly hard to execute boss, although it's not the easiest thing, or not the hardest thing in the world to screw up. Some of those, like, break the ice blocks, grab the bomb, throw it at him. But right now you're kind of looking at, all right, what's my pace? Because World 6 is a monster. It's, as you'll see in this run tonight, this was, like, okay pace. But any of the levels in World 6 have blow-up potential, I call it. And you're just hoping to play some damage control and see what happens, because World 6 is a big one. 8 levels and then the final boss.
Yeah, and the difficulty ramps up a ton in World 6. Like, it's noticeably way harder. So it's a challenge. This boss, too, the other thing is sometimes you get complacent because it's so long and so tedious.
Yes.
And you kind of just play it, and then you end up maybe making a mistake because of that. I do. So.
Oh, all the time I do. Oh, my God.
It's just, oh, are we done yet? No, okay.
It's always this phase 2, dude. He just jumps forever.
Yeah,
I'm just
the phase 2 is so
if phase
long.
2 was faster, then like phase 1 and 3, I'm like, you actually get your 3 hits kind of quick.
This is one of the
3
bosses.
minutes, a minute and a half of it is this bit.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. There's still a bounty on this boss for whoever can find ways to speed this up.
Oh,
gets my subs. Yeah.
Oh my God. All the money in the world.
Someone please find quick kills and double hits for this boss.
Yeah. Right there, that was kind of, we were close enough to where I kind of just lifted the bomb into his belly button.
Yeah, by getting hit, you dropped it, but it hit him, which is great. That's what we want. Play some baseball here.
Play some baseball. Again, I want to give a huge shout outs to whoever at Retro, Nintendo, the new developers for the Switch version decided we should fix the RNG to always be the fastest pattern for everything. So we just know what the RNG is going to be on the bosses, assuming we don't screw up. If things start getting off, then it's random. But that's like the perfect balance where to someone playing the game for the first time, they're not going to notice. They're not going to have any idea because they're not going to be doing these boss fights exactly the same like we're trying to do, yada, yada. And speedrunners, best of both worlds. We just get perfect RNG. As long as we execute and do the same stuff, we will get the best result. So...
I just want to know why his head didn't become purple, though.
I know.
Like,
he
that
gets more and more
bothers me.
purple. Every time it falls in the juice.
His whole being should be purple, not just his body.
He should just be the meanie up there. What's the McDonald's character? That's just
Grimace.
purple. Grimace.
Yeah.
He should just be Grimace by the end of it.
Yeah.
Newbie,
that's a good point.
I'm terrible at this level.
I was wondering. I was going to say, how did your 6-1 go?
Let's find out. I don't know.
A Spike classic.
Yeah.
A
So
Spike
right
classic.
here. Okay. So we blast up here. You've got. I'm looking at this vine right here. Whatever. That's probably a vine. I don't know.
We all have a different visual cue here. I look at this piece here. You can't see that note, but it's the chat can see it.
Okay. Yes. Again, visual cues
Right
can be different.
above the barrel.
When this banana trail passes that is my visual cue to do this quick shot. So let's see if, I don't know, I might be in a pit. Nah, okay.
Hey.
Yeah, all right. Take a damage boost, roll up. I had to make a mini adjustment midair, but I was able to figure it out as we went. Go down. I want to get a medium-sized pogo here so that I stay underneath those fish. Because as you can see, Cranky's down at 1 health. I don't want Cranky to die. That would just be awful. I ideally want this Cranky to last all the way to 6-5. We'll see what happens. And then I'm able to jump up, roll through this guy, do a medium pogo in front of the poker right there, getting me above the flaming arrow right there, neutral bopping off of the Archie right there, and then doing a cane bounce up into the grass right there. Now, this is the coolest part of the level. As soon as we're pointing at like 5 o'clock, 4:30, some might say, I jump off of it, bounce, grab, release instantly because you'll fall down. And as soon as you're in position, that's when that breaks out. We call that the crunch-a-drop, part of the community. And that's always a very, very satisfying section to pull off. So this 6-1 was not terrible. It was actually
The 6-1's perfect for you, I think.
for me, I know, right?
What does
And
that
we roll
perfect
off,
for you?
jump.
If you're Spike Vegeta, this is perfect. But
Yeah, if you were, there's
if you're
perfect and
Mr.
there's Spike
Newbie,
Vegeta perfect.
this is subpar.
Wow, what can I say?
I'm shocked that wasn't a rainbow.
So the way I always describe that level, the IL record is like 47, 48 seconds, somewhere in that ballpark. That level is either 50 seconds or it's a minute 50 seconds. And there's no in between because almost all those mistakes you might have noticed, if I make a mistake, I die or I at least lose Cranky. So. So we go through 6-2 Seashore Wharf. Force want to get a big pogo off that far right enemy. Now I'm chaining these together, got all my visual cues in the background. Pogo, go off the second enemy, land right there. As you can see, barely able, if you touch the freezing water, you take damage. But I pulled it up just enough to where I'm not gonna touch the water, but the cane is gonna be able to reach down and hit the platform and get myself up there just by frames. Now we're gonna try to chain all these together. 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4 to the 5 to the roll.
We clipped a little too much.
Go right here, grab the vine. I'm going to take my 1 damage boost for the level, try to aim right of this banana right here because that will push me to the right side as opposed to being sad and pushing me to the left side. And that will give me the iframes to go through this big guy, even if he throws the fish. Pogo, pogo, neutral. Ooh, I messed that up, but I adjusted correctly. Yeah, now I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm trying to figure out something. And now what I'm trying to do is chain off these 4 owls, pogo right there to get to the left side of that hoot, get there in time to get off that bunny, bounce, 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 have all your visual cues, know what you're aiming for, and get out of the level and not lose a minute like I've been doing on that level so often recently.
Really nice recovery from slightly messing up that middle section there.
Yeah.
Not that neutral man. That works out really well, actually. You did the ending flawless, which is great.
Yeah, the most important thing is I only lost a couple seconds there, and again, we didn't lose Cranky, because Cranky Kong does not exist in this level. Only Diddy Kong does. It's like Retro got to this level and they were like, oh, well, we have nowhere to put Diddy Kong. 6-3, sure, you get him. Because he does not benefit you in this level hardly at all, other than he gives you an infinite roll. So
Right
here, try to make sure I roll off, barely going under, getting in that secret barrel, slightly faster going through that section. And now you actually conserve a little bit of momentum, you can probably tell, off of that ice back there. Pogo off this guy, roll jump, minimum hop, into a big bounce off that dude, big bounce again, roll into it, roll into it, roll into it, into the barrel, into the second half of the level. That's always a fun first half section to do.
Oh, no, that's fine.
This makes me want to run Cranky again.
Right?
I'm like, man, I should pick this up again. Oh, so
Funky
cool.
Kong also looks really good there. I like Funky's section. He actually gets a good serve, a little more momentum, it always feels like. We can use Cranky Kong right here to climb up that section, skipping out on the grass climbing section there. Blast into the barrel a little bit earlier and finish out the level. There was a Donkey Kong in the background. He had a Wii U in his hand. It was great. Maybe it was a Switch at that point. I don't know.
I can't believe you. How do you know?
It was probably still a Wii U.
But I'm just saying, like, probably.
That was a great level, too.
5.
Saved a lot of time, also. This run's shaping up to be pretty nice.
I know. Like,
I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong
right?
at all from here on
Starting
in.
to feel like, oh man, this is like obviously some improvements we could make. Poppy, Scowl, Fuga, pretty much bosses. They could all win better.
Like, honestly, David.
Yeah.
2-2, that could have been better. And some stuff here. Then we died in 5-1. But like, man, like pretty darn happy with this run. It'd be terrible if something went wrong.
A lot of that tough stuff you did get, right? Like 4-5 is fantastic. You got a bunch of the Do-Si-Do in 3-3, which is really cool. The tornado strat there.
Yep. I can name a lot of levels that went pretty darn well.
I think this run's really good.
Yep. So at the end of the day, it's obviously that's the thing about speedrunning, Chad, is maybe you know how to do every single level, but you want to do them all right in a row on one video and show people that's what I did.
That's the
so
point.
you guys
That's the goal.
Seeing, once again, you're not seeing you're watching Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze original mode, any % by Spike Vegeta beta version. This is in beta right now. We'll get there.
Now, when I had Joey on, we were talking about, there's a certain point in the run where you're seeing you're on PvP pace and you start getting nerve wracked. And for Sonic 2, there was like a auto scroller, and that's the part where you're kind of like, all right, I've got 2 levels left and all the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Were you at all feeling that? You're in like kind of an auto scroller here.
Yeah, it always depends. So like you should always think positive about your runs, chat. The good thing about me not thinking positive is that there was 0 pressure right here. I was like, this run is garbage, dude. I don't care. This is terrible. No, but like in reality, watching it, this was a pretty good run. I would have been very happy with not having a blow up after this point. I can't wait to see. I don't even remember what happens, but something terrible happens. Run around with a chicken with his head cut off. But yes, when you're on pace, when you're like, if I was on like 124 pace right now, I would be so nervous during this level. And that will happen at some point. I will be here and the run will be good. And I'm going to think I have to execute the last 4 levels and not screw up the boss fight after this. Because you feel like you're pretty close to the end of the run, but there's some monster stuff coming up, particularly in the next level. Nailing all of 6-5, probably the single most infamous level in Tropical Freeze speedrunning, no matter what category you run. It's pretty hard to do when you're on pace.
Yeah, it's hard in every category. Funky, it's hard with Funky. It's hard with Cranky.
Yeah, it's hard.
Totally different strats.
All the
with
stuff
Funky.
you do with Funky is so cool.
I find it really difficult with Funky, yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why that's the thing as we pop into the level is that you're going to be seeing these platforms that you can kind of grab onto them and you can punch them and that shoots you off of them. Well, Chad, if you've been watching the rest of the speedrun, you see where I'm going with this. You can conserve momentum off of that. And with Cranky's cane bouncing, the first week this game was out, people were like, oh, there's so many big gaps. We have to do this with Dixie. We found out there are snowflakes in this level. You can bounce off those snowflakes in the sky right there with Cranky's cane. Is there anything this man can't do? My God.
Oh, what a day when we found that out.
Cane bounce, roll to get a little bit of speed, cane bounce off of the flipping snowflake to get through that first section beautifully. Well done right there. And now I'm going to be doing, this is definitely a little bit of an easier strat. I go around the wheel 2 times because that sets this vine I'm grabbing right here to be on the far left side. There's a more aggressive strat where you have it going to the right and you barely grab it, saving you about a second. But now on to the next big section. Need to roll underneath this snowflake, chain bounce 1, 2, 3 up to here. 1 bounce, 2 bounce. And so right here, this is kind of one of the big moments of the level, is that my controller is in neutral. I'm gonna punch this thing as it turns to the side, and then I need to do a very quick roll to the right and jump. Again, the more I'm on the ground, the more speed I lose. By doing that at max, I will neutral bop off of the next big enemy, and then that will perfectly place me on a hoot in the middle of the death zone that I can max pogo bounce off of to get into the next barrel. Let's see if we get it. Whoop. Oh. Into the barrel. Let's
That was
go.
great. Oh, nice.
Yeah, DKS taught me that setup. Damage boost right there. I'm going to wait on this wheel until it just naturally puts me at the top. That is my visual cue to start the roll off of it so that I don't bonk and I get up on these vines right here. Chain these bounces together, roll off. Make sure I have good positioning for these cane bounces. Cane bounce, cane bounce, cane bounce. Neutral boot bop right here. I know I screw this up. Yeah, he gets hit, but that's not going to be a major time loss. I have to just make sure I get into this barrel, take a damage boost. We set this up by going all the way around the wheel with Donkey Kong. When we get to the top, do 1 full roll jump to get to the barrel just slightly faster. That's pretty good 6-5. Again, we lost Cranky at the end. That's not a massive time loss. That was like a second or two.
Yeah. Those setups are pretty great. And I find them, once you know what you're doing and you can do those bounces, you're in there.
Yeah, you feel really good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, chat. We've entered late night comedy hour. This is where this run went from this pretty good to this run's sick. Yeah, this run's pretty bad.
This level's cool though to look at. I love the silhouette level.
Yes, these are gorgeous levels to look at. Yeah. Well,
Starting without Cranky is already an issue, right? Because you lose some. Oh no.
yeah.
Oh no. What's
I'm
happening?
trying to make readjustments. So what's happening right here is I'm trying to get up to a Dixie cycle. That is long gone. That is at least 1 full cycle later. So 3 seconds lost right at the beginning of the level. We're just getting started, chat. Roll over. I want to aim for that platform right in front of me, and I want to roll deep on it to where I do a natural boosted bounce off this guy so I can get over this guy just off screen and his arrow. Let's see if that goes well. I think basically everything goes wrong in this level. No, we actually got over it. So that was actually okay. That section. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's naturally what happens. You want to climb those vines until these platforms spawn in with this dude in front of it. Jump off of it. I land in front of this guy, roll through, and get a big boost off his buddy behind him. I think this is where it goes wrong. Oh, it all... Okay, so it all went wrong. Yeah. Oh, this is what happened. Yeah, that is exactly what happened. The sad pause and everything, dude. So, like, I won't back up. It's already late enough. But effectively, I tried to start my hover to bounce off of that hoot about 2 frames too late. So instead of me floating above him, I boosted off of the front of him, immediately killing me. There was nothing I could do at that point. I was able to get the good movement there the second time through. Yeah, so
that was good.
Now I'm above it because I was just too low, and there's nothing to catch me below.
That's too bad, man.
We're up to the last checkpoint where what went wrong here? That's not it. It keeps going.
Oh, no.
I didn't die there.
I am terrified.
At some point, I remember.
No.
So you're supposed to do a boosted bounce off of the hoots. What's kind of a problem sometimes with when you're Diddy or Dixie, you have to be very precise with when you time your boosts on your bounces. What's the problem with Diddy and Dixie? Oh, I can't even pick her up.
No.
Yeah, I can't pick her up, dude. I couldn't grab her in stride. Nothing could go right.
Everything went wrong.
Everything. It was the blow up of the century, dude.
PB's
going away, dude. So if you're a little off on your boost timings, instead, the A button, which is what we're using here, or the B button, you will hover instead. So I had no momentum to boost up into that barrel that I wanted. Cool strat here, you can hold right, you fall into the off-screen barrel, and then I have a visual cue for when you can blast there, when everything's out of your way and you can go. That level is over. I didn't want to look at it again. I lost like 80 or 80? Was it 80? I lost like 80 seconds in that level. So again, this run went from to right there. I think the rest of the run mostly goes fine. But yeah, that was the blow up. It's like I said, every time you do a World 6, you get a run up to World 6, you're hoping that you don't have a blow up. And there were a lot of instances earlier in this World 6 where I could have had a blow up, and I barely made the adjustment needed. But man, there were 2 mistakes there that were like the difference between not losing 30 seconds and losing 30 seconds was like so minuscule. But it's okay. We'll chain it together.
I feel like too, it's after you do 6-5, which is arguably harder than any other level in this world. You do it so well, and then to have 6-6, kind of fall apart like that is just, it just feels even worse. I've done it all the time. I do that like plenty in this game.
That's part of speedrunning, man, is like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen speedrunners get through, quote unquote, the hard part and think, all right, now this is a victory lap. I wasn't thinking of it that way, but like, definitely I would say 6-6 is easier objectively than 6-5 is to execute a run.
Exactly.
So, by the way, 6-7's all really cool. Just kind of bobbing and weaving through everything. You barely make it on top of this platform and everything. We're kind of just dwelling on what happened in 6-6, but I think my 6-7 was actually pretty good. We want to make sure we don't take any unnecessary damage, because this is another place. This damage boost saves a ton of time compared to doing that section casually. Go in, blast instantly, lose Dixie because you're picking up Cranky in the next level anyways. Hopefully it'll hold for the rest of the run. And now you can see, you watch the VOD back, you can see, I'm just like, this run, I hate it now. But that's okay, because chat, we're shooting for the PB. See if we can get a PB that we were going to showcase on GDQ that day. We're going to see if something can come along and bless this run.
Can't get out of world. World 6 without a blow up, dude.
Yeah.
Just an
We're still ahead, so you know
It says on
this,
screen.
this might become a PB.
This could be, yeah. We're 28
be.
seconds ahead right now. We were a minute 40, but 28 seconds, nothing to scoff at.
true.
Here's what I will always say. This is actually, I think, a really good mentality in speedrunning. Always be happy about a PB. Try to that is the best you have ever done that. And yes, it sucks when you lose a run, but that's just another stepping stone. Eventually you'll look back and say, hey, you know what? That's the best I have ever played that game to that point. So I've even tried to have that mentality when I just miss a PB, hey, that was probably if I was, I end this run plus 3 seconds behind my personal best. That's the second best I've ever done this run. If nothing else, that tells you about your consistency in the game, that hey man, don't worry. It's just a matter of time before it all comes together. It all clicks at the right time. Your consistency is getting up there. Because, some days speedrunning can be super, super frustrating. You'd be like, why did that all go wrong?
Yeah, it happens
This is
to
always a
everybody.
fun section.
Every runner.
It's funny that Spike has had so much growth within the show just tonight, because at the beginning of the show, Spike's like, Nukes, why'd you even ask me to be on the show? This PB sucks. And now we've come full circle where he's like, wow, yeah, I did do some things great, and it's still a PB, I can improve on this. And
it's you also have to keep in mind, if you think about it as how many times did you make a mistake? There weren't a ton of mistakes in this run, but it's also, are they 1 second mistakes? Are they minute long mistakes? And you think to yourself, I'm getting the overall mistake counter down. I just need to make sure they also aren't minute mistakes. They're they're 1 or 2 second mistakes, whatever. I almost chained that whole section together with the cane bounces. Again, trying to cut out as many Ramby startup cycles as you can. So generally, we haven't talked too much about the commentary for those last couple levels. I would say 6-7 went really well. 6-8 went really well, and now we're going into Frederick, so I'm minus 31 seconds on my PB, which sounds great. I mean, that's cool. You're looking at PBing by 31 seconds. Here's the problem. For the final boss of Frederick, you have to go 9 for 9 on bouncing on his backside, which is smaller than you would think. And if you miss it, you lose 1 minute. And I mean missing any of the first 6 hits, you lose a minute. If you miss hits 7, 8, or 9, I think that's 25 seconds. And then after that, it would be an additional minute. So, yeah, you are definitely a little bit worried getting to this point in the run and saying, hey, if I mess up any of these, then I'm screwed. Right here, we do have our visual cues for where we jump from. Yeah, you talk about it, maybe.
I was going to ask you, I know that the timing is different with Cranky and Funky and other characters. Do you find it harder with Cranky?
I actually like it with Cranky because when his cane comes out, that actually extends down a little bit. So I feel like maybe it's just a mental thing. I don't know how much it actually does, but it feels like you have a few more frames to work with, with actually making contact with his shoulder blades, because that's really what you're aiming for. You probably look at that, chat, and you think that looks like a pretty wide box that you're trying to hit. When you get down to basically his butt, that's not actually going to get you a hit. You are aiming for his shoulder pads and a little bit of the small of his back. That's it. After that, you just curve off the end of it. A lot of times you just take damage. So yeah, I actually have very specific visual cues and spots that I stand on the ground. So for this second phase, he's going to give me a slow, medium, fast run speed. So here I put myself 3 spaces away. Now I'm 3.5 spaces away because he's at medium. And here I'm going to be a full 4 spaces away because he's in a fast run. So each of those are so I know as soon as he starts running, I jump straight up in the air and I cane bounce downwards. And that's going to set it up. Also, if you saw that casually, you're going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
every
there.
time.
Look at that pig.
Also, I do want to give a shout out if you watch the VOD for this. I don't think people can see it on stream, but Kitty Mon, mine and Nukes' cat, she was definitely brought into the room, and she is blessing the run right now.
Yes.
She is making sure that I go 9 for 9 on Frederick and secure this GDQ PB right now.
Yeah, we don't have the webcam from your PB up, but
Oh, she's so
there
precious.
is in the run at this moment. The cat is putting her paw on the chair, blessing the run. Spike is scoffing at me, being like, Nukes, I made big mistakes. I don't want this to be a PB.
Run's garbage. I hate it. But here we are, 7 for 7, 8 for 8, 9 for 9.
Hey.
Time.
Heck yeah.
Heck
This
yeah.
has been a great evening of growth, though, in the Spike Vegeta world. I've really enjoyed this.
God, I instantly
Close software right away. Quit. I'm out.
It's like, let's do another run.
That's so good. The instant quit is so good.
I went and did another run right after that. But again, like you said, Nukes, like watching back on the run, I'm like, I did a lot of things well. We're, of course, going to keep running. We're going to try to do it better and better every single time. I want my final PB for that to be about 2 minutes and 10 seconds faster than that, which sounds like a lot. There's a minute and 20 in one level alone to save. Then we got to make up about another 50 seconds throughout all the other levels, just getting cleaner and cleaner all over the place. But this has been a super, super fun show to be a part of. I love the concept of this show. It was nice getting to watch Joey earlier. It was Sonic 2 as well. And glad Nukes and Newbie, both of you, N and N, I'm glad you both got to join me here.
Yeah, thank you
great.
so much, both of you, for taking the time to showcase that. I love that we got to just like pause and rewind and revisit and really break down the run in a way that you normally can never do, during either a marathon or just doing live speed runs. Spike and Newbie, I want to give both of you a moment to give a shout out to, let the people know where to find you, what to expect if they were to watch you. Yeah, let the folks know.
Yeah, Newbie, you go first.
Yeah, I'm on twitch.tv/notsonewbie. And I do mostly speedrunning content. Right now I'm playing Kirby on and off a couple times a week. It's pretty fun, I have to say. Yeah, sometimes I do some casual stuff. I may at some point play Trop again. This kind of got me a little bit interested. But we'll see. Maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, and I'm Spike Vegeta. You can follow me at twitch.tv/Spike Vegeta, where all month I've actually been doing my own solo event, Dashing Through Time, where I've gone back and I have revisited basically a bunch of games that I have either fully learned or dabbled in or just done had a little bit of interest in speedrunning the games in the past. So I've done a bunch of Mario games, Zelda games, Donkey Kong games, Rayman games were today. I played through 28 games so far in the first week. Tomorrow's my day off, thankfully. And we got a bunch of other stuff coming down the pipeline as we move into the 32, 64-bit eras, the more modern eras and everything. I'm going to be doing that all month, and probably once we get back around to May, more Tropical Freeze speedruns, getting that 124, baby. So should be
You'll
good.
get it. You're close.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Donkey Kong only world record, maybe.
Maybe. I think it'd be a banger category. I think it'd be good. So.
Well, thank you both again so much. Please make sure to check out both of these fantastic people. They both are wonderful, wonderful. Please check out their channels. And that's it, though, for Hotfix shows tonight. Make sure, though, chat to stick around. We'll be throwing over a raid to someone who is doing speedrunning content, so make sure you stick around for that. Also, keep an eye out. This weekend, we have Sonic and the Glitchless Gauntlet starting at 12 p.m. Eastern each day. Use command GG in Twitch chat for more information. You'll definitely want to check that out. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for more Hotfix. Good night.
Bye-bye.